Hey guys, how we doing?
What up?
Doing well. Hey,
What up?
Mike.
Good to see
Hey,
you
Finn.
both.
Same here.
Glad to have you guys here. Okay, so basically the way this is gonna work is you guys will lay out your positions, whether Finn wants to start or Jason. What I'll do is I'm just gonna moderate, so I'm not gonna get involved in your debate unless you
Hmm.
directly reference me and ask me a question. Then I'm not gonna
Okay.
say anything. What I'll also do for the sake of the chat, because I know people will have questions, is that every time you guys have exhausted your talking points and you're about to move on to another position, then I will like read out some questions that might come in, and then we'll move on. Is that okay with you guys?
Yes.
Sounds perfect. I don't mind
Okay.
jumping in first.
Okay, cool. Well, just before we jump in, just in case anybody doesn't know who you guys are, if we could start with you, Jason, just let everybody know who you are, what you do in your history with Tekken.
Appreciate it. Yeah. And I want to thank you again, Mike. You've really been kind and I think fair to me. So I just want to thank you for that because we know how online is. It doesn't always happen, right? And Finn, I want to thank you too. I've watched some of your content, also a very good content creator. And so I look forward to this. And I'm appreciating the chance to have this discussion. I want to start by saying I love Tekken, like we all do. I've been part of the franchise since the early days, competing at majors and locals all the way back to the 90s. Building that local scene and that local community and watching the series evolve over the decades. So my perspective doesn't come just from being a fan, but living through the highs, the lows, and the challenges Tekken has brought to our local scene and the national scene as the series has done its new iteration after new iteration. Now, for Tekken 8, there's a lot of talk going around, and I have a particular, I guess, bone to pick with some of the specifics talks, and I'm not sure if Finn is going to
Oh, I'm very
look.
much about specifics. Yes.
No, I'm sure you are. I've seen your content. It's very good.
Yes, I am.
What I mean by that is my specifics may not be your same complaints about the game, because what I've seen online primarily is people saying 50-50 casino, defense is dead, or the game has lost its identity. And I respectfully disagree. Tekken has always had mix-ups, comebacks, strong tools, from counterhead launchers in Tekken 3 to wall pressure in Tekken 5 to KBD dominance in Tekken 7. I find it more evolution than destruction. And every entry adds something that feels controversial at first. And then over time, it becomes part of the DNA of the game, whether it's rage arts, heat, new moves. And I don't see it so much as an end of Tekken as I do a continuation of it. And for me, the evidence is right in front of us with like Evo, Japan, Vegas, EWC, because all these top 16s are filled with variety, defense, movement, player expression. These aren't scrubs winning by coin flips. These
Wait,
are the
Jason,
best.
Jason, before you get into your points, I just want to give Finn a chance to introduce himself, and then you guys can go back and forth on this.
Okay, give me 20 more seconds. I'll finish up here.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying Tekken is perfect. No fighting game ever is. And balance passage, adjustments, and tuning will always be part of the process. But the narrative that Tekken 8 is broken or not a serious fighting game, it's not only false, it's harmful to the community when it gets hyperbolic and that doom language demotivates players, scares off newcomers, and paints a false picture of what the game actually is. My position is simple. Tekken 8 is a strong modern Tekken with tools, more variety, more ways to play. It needs adjustment, yes, but it deserves our support and honest critique, not hyperbolic talk. And I'll end with this. I'm here today not to fight against Tekken fans, but to fight for Tekken itself. And I believe we take a balanced look at both sides of the coins. We'll see this game is not only worth playing,
I
it's
think
worth
20
building the
seconds.
next. Okay, it's worth the next generation of our community. That's
Okay.
it. Thank you.
Finn, if you
Look,
want to introduce yourself, and then we'll get into the debate.
Well, yeah, I can do quick introduction. So I actually play since Tekken 6, but very casually got the game from my mom. Got Tech 2 actually at launch and made made a clan over this amazing website back in the day, like World Tekken Federation.
Nice.
And yeah, then like many people got like for real, or like I played like 2 or 3 months Tech 2. I played ranked, but at that time I was that much of a brain dead that I used Asuka's downback 4 string as a mix-up, even though it's not a mix-up. But I thought it's a mix-up, even though I didn't even know what a mix-up is. But yeah, and then with Tekken 7, I got like more serious about it. Never wanted to actually compete or something. But well, my biggest thing is that I've entered some ICFCs online, and I finished that game on basically, well, if that bitch hadn't plugged me on Tekken got Prime, but never went for the Omega or tried it. So basically, that's my. And now we are in Tekken 8, so yeah, that's basically it.
Okay, awesome.
Okay,
All
very
right,
nice.
well, just before we get started, just a quick shout out to Sulan Spud and to Brute95 for becoming members before the stream even started. Appreciate you guys. All right, so who wants to go first? Because I know Finn already has a lot of things he wants to lay out. Don't know if Jason wants to start.
I guess,
Yes.
I laid out my positions, Finn, so
Well,
why don't you go and lay out some of yours?
Yes, so basically, I have a bit of a plan today because I want to mainly focus on you and also on Tekken 8 Season 2, obviously. But I want to ask you questions about like certain things because I want to be honest with you. I'm not here to be nice because, and this is the only time I'm going to say this, like I respect you a certain part because you obviously love the game, and I don't think you are like rage baiting or something. I think you are actually serious about this and what you say. And you are a TO and did this for a long time, so I respect that a lot because I have once casted an online tournament with Blackheart, and even online tournaments managing that is like not particularly easy. So I appreciate that a lot. But for the other part, I think that you are, very dishonest because you call people like me and people like Blackheart and other people like we are misleading certain people in the community to a certain position, and we are the dishonest ones, and that I have a big fucking problem with.
Okay,
So I'm not here to be like nice.
Okay, so see if I understood your position right. You're not so much here to talk about Tekken 8 as you're here.
No. We will
Okay.
go really into Tekken 8, but I also
Okay.
have a certain part where I want to ask you certain things about what you have said about yourself.
Sure. And then things that you don't like about Finn that I've said about you and Blackheart. I don't think I've said anything about you.
No, not specific. No, indirectly. You call people like us that we are misleading and dishonest and lead people into certain directions.
I've never said dishonest, so that's a word you're attributing to me.
Well, misleading is dishonest behavior.
I have said well, no, because misleading.
Okay.
The difference is dishonest is intent. It all comes down to intent, right? So if a person's being dishonest, that's an intent to lie.
Look, I don't care about your definitions of it. You have said the words. You could have.
Okay, you're asking me a question. Do you want me to answer or not?
Well, not if your answer doesn't. If your answer doesn't bring me forward or bring us forward, then no.
Okay. Oh, then I don't know if we have anything to talk about then. If I'm not allowed to answer.
Well, you are allowed to answer.
Well,
let me answer. That's my point. Let me answer. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Let's to do this in the best way possible. If Finn asks a question or Jason does, answer in any way you see fit, and then if Finn or yourself don't like the answer, then just push back against the answer.
Thank you. Appreciate the moderation. So with that, I'd say misleading, I think, many times has a good heart. They just don't have all the data points. And I've never been here to say that Blackheart is abjectly dishonest, or you or anybody on that side. I have always said there's legitimate criticism here to be had. Some of the legitimate criticism I agree with. However, my point, and I say this as a mantra, people have seen me say this a million times online, is how can any of us know where we stand if we don't hear both sides of the coin? And that's my problem with the online discourse that was going on here lately in the past, was so abjectly negative. Some of those reasons that were why they existed weren't being looked at. All we were hearing was one side of the coin. And I expected some of our bigger leaders in the community to speak up, because I have developed a community myself, and I've had detractors in the community trying to tear it down or just have a misunderstanding or a different opinion, which is their right to hold. But with additional information, then the viewer or the person gets to make a judgment call for themselves.
So okay. would you allow me to ask you about statements that you have made? Is that okay?
I'll tell you right now, I'm a little uncomfortable about making it about me, because this isn't. I mean,
Yeah.
if it's going to be like, oh, we're gonna just dogpile on Jason as a person or who he
No,
is, or
I'm not.
things
I'm
like
just
that,
one person.
then
I'm not
I'm
gonna
not sure I'm
dogpile.
down with the discussion. So, I mean,
Well,
I'll say it
just to
like
be
this.
clear, there's not going to be, I mean, in this particular podcast, just so you two both know, I'm not going to have people on here jumping in. It's just going to be between you two. So there's not going to be any dogpiling. So anything that goes on here is just going to be between you two. So you don't have to worry about that.
Okay. Well, and I do want to say I was invited here to talk about Tekken 8, not about Jason Montoya, but I'll allow it to a degree. But if I think it's a little bit too egregious, I'm just not going to answer it.
That's fine, but I would like to, because you're active on Twitter a lot, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mike, would you do me the honor, because I've sent you a few tweets? Would you maybe show us the very first Speedkicks tweet, where Speedkicks is part of the topic? Because I think when Jason uses the word misleading, I think something like that is relatively misleading. It has the number 1, because I would like to highlight this.
Yeah.
So I will just wait until it's on screen. So here, Jason says, even Speedkicks recognizes how great Tekken 8 is looking and playing. PAX being another great event where the game plays and looked great. No, I'm sure he has tuning concerns, yada yada. No, Jason, I don't know about you, but when I read Speedkicks' statement, he doesn't address Tekken 8 at all. He says the tournament was sick to watch and that everyone played well. He doesn't say anything to the state of gameplay of Tekken 8, does he?
Okay, yeah, I would agree with that, but still the game is part of the event. I mean, it's a three-legged stool, am I correct? I mean, there's the game, there's the players, and there's the event. So you just want to pay attention to two of them, and in your defense, I agree with you. He didn't talk about the game, didn't he? So maybe I went too far in the statement. However, I would say in my defense that it's not unreasonable for me to think that, well, this three-legged stool, one of them has to operate well enough so it stands, because if one of them is totally broken, then this stool isn't even going to stand.
Okay.
So it's reasonable for me to assume that the game played well enough to make it a competitive event.
Now, well, you said he recognizes how great Tekken 8 is looking and playing. Now, Mike, would you go to the second one, please? It has the number 2. So this is Speedkicks saying on August 4th, they should have reverted that patch, bro. Now, Mike, could you maybe even go to the third one? Just, we can do this relatively fast. We don't need to take ages for this. So this was Speedkicks on July saying, if I was brought onto the team and I heard the last guys lost their jobs for adding some things to the video game, my first move would be removing those things, by the way. Now we have a fourth one, which is, guys, we are losing the plot. Pros care about whose overtuned character gets nerfed first because it determines who wins championships. The rest of us need all of them nerfed if we want a fun game, implying that the game right now is not fun. Now we have a fifth one, which you could have also known about. Yo, this is mad funny to look back on. I played Season 2 Horang for 1 hour, tagged the devs, got ignored, and 3 months later, everyone is mad about Horang's design. The game probably just needs some playtesters. Now, does this still look to you that Speedkicks recognizes how great Tekken 8 is playing?
Again, I already said in my defense that it's reasonable to assume that the game's playing enough at a certain level that's decent enough for an event to be good. Because if a game sucks that bad, Finn, you can't have a good event. It's not a fun event.
Look,
okay?
I'm not saying that the game sucks that bad.
See,
this is Speedkicks here.
You make such an oversimplification of laser focus. Look, Speedkicks didn't say that. Okay, yeah.
You did focus on Speedkicks, not me, right?
Well, but can we see the forest from the trees? Like, you're at the laser focus level, you're correct. But there's a bigger picture here, bro.
Look, bro, I didn't take Speedkicks as an argument of authority that the game is great. You did that.
I gave
just
it
went.
an example, and it's a reasonable thing to say. As I said, the three-legged stool, it's not unreasonable. It's not.
Yeah, but what about the other legs that Speedkicks has shown you previously? You didn't say anything about those legs, did you?
Well, because I said in the Lost Podcast, if you're listening, he's blocked me on Twitter. I don't see a lot of those tweets.
So now he has blocked you? Since when? Because you shared this
he
tweet
blocked
on.
me a long time ago because when he was talking about Arslan complaining instead of stuff, or Nee, I forget which one it was, I said something to the effect like, yeah, Nee's a Karen of Tekken as a joke. And
I heard, Jason, I've listened to you. I have actually.
Okay, so then
okay.
Then I thought you would remembered that.
No, I went back. I remember a lot. But, you know, when he blocked you, how did you read his tweet about packs?
Because I think somebody else tweeted it, and so I saw it through that. So they like retweeted it.
So you tweet about that selectively and take this as an argument to misrepresent, like take this as an opportunity to misrepresent what Speedkicks' opinion actually is?
No, because look, I'm in the laser focus. I agree with you. Like, he didn't abjectly say that, right? But I've given you reasons which you're refusing to accept the nuance here, and that's fine. You don't have to. But that's where, I mean, there's nothing else to talk about it here, because you say, I reject your nuance, Jason, that it's a reasonable look, that the game must be playing well, because how can you have a good event if the game sucks? And you're like, I'm not accepting that nuance. Okay, cool. I think we're done with the point.
Okay, let me ask you about nuance, because you said, like, if you had listened to me, did you listen to FinnT and Speedkicks discuss Tekken 8 for like an hour, about like 1.5 months ago?
I don't think I've seen that one.
You don't? Okay.
Mm-mm.
Because if you had, you would know Speedkicks' take is more detailed than Tekken 8 is, than that he recognizes Tekken 8 is great and plays great.
I'm sure.
So,
and
you say you wait one moment, please wait. Can I wait one moment?
Go ahead.
Because you accused me of not seeing nuances when I actually went and literally checked Speedkicks for nuances. Like, I'm actually interested to hear what he has to say about the game and not misrepresent him.
Right, you accept his nuance and you don't accept mine. Like I said, nothing I said has changed. I was exactly right in that statement. So you don't accept my nuance, you do his. Good for you, bro.
Do you accept that you literally just misrepresented what Speedkicks said, so you can make an argument that the game is great and take him as an authority for that? Do you recognize that you did that?
I recognize that I didn't speak to the way he said it exactly. Absolutely. 100%. That's on me. But still, as I said, there's nuance here. And the nuance is, if the game sucks that bad, then it doesn't matter the event. It's not going to be a good event. People aren't going to like it. They love the event. And that game had something to do with it. It had something to do with it. It didn't have nothing to do with it. But you reject that nuance. And that's fine. You can reject the nuance.
I am actually legit about nuance, because
it doesn't feel like it from my side.
Well, I listened to Speedkicks actually talk about it. You didn't even bother to do that, right?
And you didn't listen to me on my nuance, it seems.
Look, I will ask. Look, we will go into the nuances. Like, I will. We have.
And that might be the better way to go, because you're here, like, again, like trying to malign my, my character. You're trying to say that, I'm a personally bad person. Again, here, dude, if that's your take here,
well, look,
I'm not sure that we have a discussion to be had.
No, look,
like, I'm here to talk about Tekken 8, and I said, the things like 50-50 casino, defense is dead, the game has lost its identity. These are things that are like, we can have a fun discussion in, and be friendly. And there's parts I would probably agree with you. There's parts I agree with, but that's not where you're taking this discussion right now.
I will take this discussion there, but I have to start with this because, I have to start with this because I don't think this is nice behavior, misrepresenting people, okay? I don't think you are here. I don't think you are in generally operating in good faith. You don't.
Oh,
you legitimately
don't. The person that tweets as much as I do, and then why would I even show up, Finn? Give me a break. Why would I show up? If I wasn't operating in good faith, why would I say the things I say consistently on Twitter?
Do you want my honest?
Why would I show up here?
Do you want my honest take on that?
Yes.
I think you like
No, I
the
want to
sound of.
lie. Well, I mean,
I think you like the sound of your own voice quite a bit too much.
No, you know what I like, Finn? I like when a
Yes.
community is polite with each other and there's balanced takes, so it doesn't demotivate people.
Do
See,
you
I grew
mean?
up building a local scene, and I had some people sometimes be detractors. But you know what? Every Tekken game is different. Tekken 1's different from 2. 2's different from 3. 3's different from
Look,
4.
look.
Tag 1, I had so many people talk bad about Tekken 4 that a lot of people left Tekken 4. And, you know, good for them. I mean, who's going to tell them they're wrong in the sense like if a person likes chocolate and one person likes vanilla, you can't say one's wrong, right? They have the personal taste. But when they start saying specific things like the game is just 50-50 casino, then I can go, well, that's an assumption based on certain data. But we can look at that assumption and provide other data and see there's two sides to the coin.
I will give you the real complaint about it, because do you think that most people, when they use the casino meme, right? Do you think that they are actually serious about it? Because they are not. They use this as a shorthand for their actual complaints. What is actually behind that? The frustration that is actually in that. And I want you, because you are of the opinion this shit is great, and I will get into your take about season 2, but I need to get through this first, because I do not like how you behave and how you treat other people sometimes. For example, recently with Red Related. Do you remember that?
Yes, absolutely, because he was claiming some of these things. Again, hyperbolic talk, like you're saying 50-50, do I not understand? Let me answer the question, because you answered me a question, just ran off with it. Okay, so first off, you said, do I not understand that people are using 50-50 casino as shorthand? Yes, and that's my point. Again, a nuance you're not getting.
Yes, but I'm getting the nuance.
That's hyperbolic language. Okay,
look,
hyperbolic language. Hyperbolic language. Guess what? It's damaging to the scene. That's why we need more nuance.
I will show you
background.
the nuances of why people use that language. We'll talk about it. But
I understand why they use it, and we've already heard it. That's the thing. The side you're advocating for, we've heard it all day long. What people haven't heard is the other side of the coin.
And to that I will also get, but the faster we can go through this, the better, because I want your take on very specific things. But we need to go through this first. You have to give me this, Jason. I already told you I respect all of your TA work, your history, your love for the game. I believe that, but I am sorry.
But you don't think I'm here in good faith. And
that is actually what I think, yes, because when I saw your very first comment that you wrote to Red, do you remember the very first comment, what that was?
Yeah, I said something, you're wrong, this is misleading people, blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that's, again, about me and not Tekken 8. And when you talk online, yeah, it's never like as smooth as I think any of us want it. And that's why continued discussions should happen. Like this is happening. But keeping a focus on whether a person is good or bad, and character attacks, really character assassination, you're getting me pretty close to just saying we're not having the discussion that I was invited here to have about Tekken 8 being a great game. So you have me really close to just
Jason. Let me just butt in quickly. I don't.
Let me add one
believe
thing,
that there's
Mike.
any. Hold on, Jason. One sec.
All right.
I don't believe that there's no personal attacks on you here. I'm just he's attacking your the way you characterize things on Tekken. But I myself, I don't think Finn thinks that. I don't think anyone thinks you're a bad guy, because we're just talking about a video game here. Yeah, I don't think you're a bad guy.
Okay. Again,
hold on, Jason. 1 second. Hold on. Jason.
Bad guy.
Jason, hold on. Wait a second. No one thinks you're a bad guy. Okay, just so this debate doesn't fly off the rails. This is not about a person's character. I don't know who you are in real life. Neither does Finn. And this is just about the game. Okay, so anything that is said has nothing to do with you as a man.
Okay, that hasn't been the discussion so far. You said it's about the game. Well, it hasn't been. So what you're saying is abjectly not correct right now.
Well, he's talking about your takes on the game.
Well, look.
I mean, the tweets you made.
You just said that it was about the game. Finn hasn't been about that so far. Okay, and not only that, a person like me, he said I've come in bad faith. A person that does literally hundreds of TO events, has competed in dozens.
I
if not
told you
hundreds of
already
Tekken
that I
events,
respect that.
is not here in bad faith. No, you respect me, but you think I'm here in bad faith. So what does bad faith mean to you?
Well, what does it mean to me? It doesn't need to mean something because I showed you the Speedkicks example. Do you think that this is honest? Come on, my bro. This is not honest.
We're not okay. Again, to Mike's point, him saying this is about Tekken. To your point, you're not about Tekken. You're about me.
Your tweets are about Tekken, and you say, look.
And to the third point of that is that I've already given the nuance. I've already said you don't have to agree with it. It's okay to disagree and move on to the next point, bro.
Okay.
Right, just so this doesn't fly off the rails, I'm just going to give you an example, Jason, just so that we will understand here that there's no personal attacks. There's some people in this community that like me as a person, but they think that I'm disingenuous when I talk about Mortal Kombat because they think I have an agenda against it, but they don't necessarily think I'm a bad person. Some of them might, I don't know, but not everyone. So just so we're clear here, he's talking about your takes on Tekken. Maybe, I'll give you an example. Like, I love One Piece. I find it hard to say nasty things about One Piece. And sometimes I might be seen as a glazer, yeah? But it doesn't mean I'm a bad guy. So all of the takes that you guys have with regards to Tekken, it's nothing to do with your characters, right? Because we're all more than...
Okay, Mike, but didn't he open the state? He did. Go back and watch a video. People can watch this video and see he goes, I'll be honest, Jason, I'm not here to be nice. I'm going to make it about you. And he said that to in effect. So, okay, you're telling me that.
I said two.
Did I just lived through something 5-10 minutes ago?
Okay, look, one thing. I said it is also about you because you use words to describe people like me, which I don't like. And you treat people that are about Tekken in a way I don't like. And I think this is important when you say there are two sides. You are interrupting me again. Why are you interrupting me all the time?
You're correct. Go ahead. My apologies.
You say there are two sides of the coin. But I think your side, your side of the coin sometimes looks a bit unpleasant to me. I just want to highlight this and want to have an explanation for this. And with Speedkicks, you said he had you blocked. Okay, I understand that. You actually said that. I remember now that you said that. That's okay. But then, it should be a bit of your due diligence to check, hey, what is Speedkicks' actual take about the game? I think this is a bit problematic. This is why I wanted to ask you. And then when you gave your explanation that, okay, I simply didn't know about it, okay, and then we moved on. We did, didn't we?
No, it felt like we're stuck in this same talk about it being me and me trying to find and say, look, we can agree to disagree. Let's get to the next point. But for whatever reason, we're stuck in this weird, I don't know, spiral right now. Just like, we should get to the next points. We should focus on Tekken 8 and have the discussion that I thought I was invited to was a Tekken 8 discussion.
Well, look, it is a debate. And okay, you know what? You're right. You know what? I will just say you're right. I will just skip certain things because I think you will literally not appreciate that very much. And I don't want to offend you, bro. So, you know what? Okay. Because I don't want you to quit this because your feelings are hurt. So let us go.
No, it's not fair to invite a person to a discussion about Tekken 8 and then go in on their character. Like I'm not here saying, Mike, you're bad. You're bad because what you're doing online that is hugely negative. That I find you're a bad person or anything. And although you haven't said that, I mean, what's the conclusion somebody's supposed to draw? I find it just a little bit over the pale, and I would appreciate if we would stick to the discussion. I mean, if you guys are so interested in me, I'll make a whole background video on it, but it's not something to be had now in the discussion.
Just before we go forward, I did specifically tell both of you that this would be a debate and not just a regular discussion. I didn't really talk about the parameters of the debate. So again, nothing's personal here. No one hates anyone. We're just talking about things spoken about Tekken 8. Okay, it's just
the great Tekken 8 debate. Okay, I think it's pretty self-evident.
Look,
right?
Jason, you said that people, you never say actually who it is, but I feel spoken to, and you cannot fault me for this. When you say things like people are misleading. Now you say you left the intention out. I recognize this. That is what you can hide behind. But you have these big accusation.
I
and
don't hide behind. I give my reasons, just so you know.
Okay, look, but I feel spoken to, and I don't appreciate that very much. That is all. You know, I just don't appreciate that.
Okay,
and then
I'm
see,
sorry your feelings are hurt, but I didn't say Finn says,
good one actually.
You know, that defense is dead and that Tekken 8 is a trash game. I've never said anything even remotely like that. So look, you can feel like you're spoken to, but I haven't spoken directly about Finn because I wasn't here to talk about Finn and what he thinks like that. Unlike Finn coming in and talking about Jason.
Well, you know, look, is it fair to maybe ask certain questions about your competence about the game, for example? Is that fair to do?
Yeah. I mean, to a degree, yeah. We all need to know that the people we're dealing with, to a degree, like has a level of understanding. Absolutely. So
okay,
that's fair. But you know, I spoke about that last time, and if you want me to speak more about it now, I guess I can.
Okay. No, wait. You know. Let's look. I don't want to tread on the same ground. I will just skip certain things because I don't want you to quit this call. I will just skip
I'll
them.
give you a quick summary. The 30-second elevator speech. Okay, I was lucky enough to run into some of the best friends that treated me just so nicely. Some Korean Americans, Kim Howard, who's best friends with Tommy Hilfiger, and Shano, and they were competing with you know, the best of the best at the time in Tag 1, and that was with you know, Alex Valle, if you can believe he was actually the national or world champion. I forget which it was, in Tag 1, and then MIC, and they took me under the wing and they mentored me, and so ever since then I've had a love for the game and a deep passion and understanding the deeper levels of Tekken because I was trained by the original American Koreans here. And so
Jason,
by running hundreds of events, competing in hundreds of events through the entire franchise where you just started Tekken 6, I think I know a little something.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, Mike, the season 2 tweet, because Jason, this is my opener. Season 2 is numbered 1. That is what I want to open with, Jason, to the real debate, because you know. So that is fantastic. This one. So you say, more evidence that season 2 Tekken is great. Showcasing again, there was an overreaction to season 2. Yes, 1% needed tuning, so that is tuned. Otherwise, the vast majority of the update was excellent. So seeing as you were trained by the original American Koreans, Howard and Tom Hilfiger, what is that 1% that needs tuning?
I should mention Kof Tekken, because Kof Tekken was... I need to mention Kof Tekken, so I shouldn't ignore him. He taught me.
What is the 1% that needed tuning, in your opinion, from season 2? What is the 1%?
So that would be like Jax makes some noise. That would be Paul's unblockable pokes. You know, and there's some additional things there that I think slowly tuning, like Claudio's like charge. I'm just like, it's too uncomfortable for me. It feels more like a Jin Laser Scrapers from Tekken 4, right? And so I'm like, yeah, we still need some tuning on some of these.
Okay, things. What else need? Like what else? No. You said it was tuned. You said there is 1% needed tuning, so it doesn't need that anymore. That is what you said in that tweet.
Okay, so this is why we have discussions, right? Because you get to explicate, and you get what I'm saying? You get to explicate, like build out the conversation.
Yes.
And add those nuances, right? And that's what I'm doing for you now. You're asking me, and I'm giving you the nuance that.
So
yes,
and the vast majority of the update was excellent. What was excellent?
What was excellent was making heat from +17 to +9. That's excellent. And I'd like to talk about heat later, since we're finally talking about Tekken 8. And then another thing that was good was sidesteps were improved. Thank God.
Well, how so? How so were they improved?
So they don't get clipped as much, if you notice.
Now, what exactly was improved? Like, what exactly was improved about them?
They're cleaner. You don't get clipped as much.
What do you mean they are cleaner? They did two.
So when
they
you
did,
sometimes you'd sidestep, a move would
no,
still
I want the
catch you.
two. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, but they did two specific things. What did they do to sidesteps? You said you were trained. You said a thing or two, right? You came with your whole resume.
If you want to share the code with us, please do.
No, just tell me. You said you know a thing about the game.
I told you my answer.
Okay,
I told
your
you
answer
you don't
is
get clipped as much.
you don't get clipped as much. That is your answer.
Yes.
Now you say
And
they're
just
more
like
effective
you didn't
now.
accept my nuances, you're not going to accept this because I don't think this is so much
No,
about
no,
Tekken 8
I-
as it
no,
is
no.
about me. No, because like if Speedkicks was telling you something on nuance, you'd be like, yeah, you're right, or maybe I don't agree, Speedkicks.
No,
but
look, it's not.
we can agree to disagree.
No,
But I
look,
don't
it's-
feel like you're giving me that charity.
No, I want. This is why I just asked you. What did they do to sidesteps? Please tell me. And you say you don't get clipped as much. You said you know a thing about like one thing or two about the game. You literally just told me that.
Okay, that qualifies one thing. I know one thing about the game. You don't get
Okay, so
clipped
you
as
don't
much
know what
after the
they
update.
actually did to sidesteps. You don't know.
And you don't know how to take nuance and just laser focus and beat down the point because it makes you feel
No,
better
this is
to
one
win.
question
Because
I have.
winning an
Oh my
argument
God.
is so lame. Like it's so lame to win an argument. We should be here discovering common ground. We should be here discovering truth. But you're
Yes,
here to
I am
win an
about
argument.
truth. I am
Cool,
about
bro.
truth.
Cool.
I just want to know, Jason, do you know what they literally did to sidestep? The
I already
actual things
told
they
you.
did.
I already told you. It's cleaner. You don't get clipped as much. And I told you again, you're not accepting the answer. Cool. We can get to the next point, bro.
I know. No, I don't need to accept any answer. We both could know what they actually did to it.
No,
I
but
know
you're gonna have
you
to
don't.
accept that we agree to disagree.
Okay,
That's what
You
you're
can't-
gonna do.
wait,
let me
you
just,
can't.
guys. Let me just butt into explain why there's a little bit of like contradictions going on here. So, if we are to discuss the nuances of what actually changes sidestepping, then simply saying that it's clean is not good enough. That's not a nuanced answer. So, if we get into the nuances, it'd be breaking down what they actually changed about it. I don't know what Finn is going to bring up. I don't know if you want to counter it, but the nuance would be talking about what actually changed rather than a baseline argument of it was clean. So again, nothing is personal here. This is all about understanding the game. So please, no one take anything personal, okay?
Hey, you can define that answer the way it's supposed
No,
to be answered.
I don't need
But
to define
I'm the one having the discussion. And my
Okay.
answer to you is they're cleaner. You don't like it. Good for you. You're like,
No, I
I'm
don't.
one of
It's
the
not.
technical
Look,
coaches.
Jason,
It's
I
like 0.3 more centimeters in the actual range. Like the hit boxes are not as active as long or whatever. Cool, bro. Cool. Give us the nuance.
No, they did two very simple things, and they gave you a buffer, and they made you able to do them from crouch in both directions. That is all they did. They didn't make them more
and
effective.
the side steps feel better and they're cleaner.
No, they might feel better to you, but that is because they did simply allow you to buffer it and made you able to do them from crouch. That is all they did.
Cool, bro. Like I said, side steps are better.
You can no, they're not better. You can just use them buffered, and you are able to do them from crouch.
Okay. Oh man, you're really.
Let's move on. To
You said you are about nuances, did you not?
You're really being pedantic and like, like over exacting. Like sometimes this is just about the holistic feel, bro.
Okay, you're right. You're right. Let's okay. Look, sorry, I don't want to. I just wanted to because you said that the vast majority of the update was excellent, and I'm simply
I gave you those
want
two examples
because I could be wrong. Okay, Leo Beck 1-4, was that excellent what they did in season 2 with Leo Beck 1-4, or was that one of the parts that might needed tuning?
It might need some tuning, but this is what I'll say holistically because you asked me.
What did they do to it? I want you to tell me what they did to that.
I don't play Leo, so I'm really not interested.
You don't know.
I don't know that with Leo.
Okay.
Yeah, dude, because remember, I play. Back in the day, I played 8 to 10.
I know back in the day,
12
but
hours a day. Okay, so I knew every little detail of the game. Anybody will when you play 8 to 12 hours a day. How much do you play, Finn?
Well, I don't know. I play not even that much. I would say like
Okay. How many hours you put in?
until now, like 1,000.
Okay, and how many hours a day were you spending on it?
You mean in Tekken 8 specifically?
Yes.
I don't know how many a day. I don't know.
An
I put
hour?
1,000 hours in.
2 hours?
Look,
3
look,
hours?
you have more.
My point
Look,
is, if
wait,
you
wait,
play
wait,
it
wait.
more, my point
Guys,
is,
don't
if you
talk
play it
over each
more,
other, please.
shocking. You're gonna know
No,
more
it's
about
not.
it.
You play it.
Wow,
You
that's
actually
shocking, isn't it?
look. You
Shocking.
played.
You
Look
play
on
it
your.
more so you know more about the Tekken 8 system.
No, it's
Good
not
for you,
about you.
bro.
No, no, no.
Because
Wait, wait,
guess
wait,
what?
wait,
If
wait.
I play more, I'm gonna learn
Look,
more too. Okay.
Look, it's not about
but
the playtime. On your main character, you have more matches than I have on my main character. You have over 2,000 ranked matches with Horang. These are only ranked matches. And this is more than I have on my main character. Now, once again, you just a few minutes ago told me, like very condescendingly, that you got trained by the American Koreans, like you say, like you love to always repeat, by the American Koreans, Tom
because it's
Hilfiger,
cool as
Howard.
hell, bro.
It
If you
is
would've
cool as hell.
lived
I
it like
agree
I
with you,
lived
but
it, you would have liked it, bro. I'm telling you.
look,
It was
I
a special
know
time.
who
So
Tom
you can-
Hilfiger is. Okay,
No,
I know who
you-
Tom.
You can
Guys,
degrade
guys,
it,
stop
but it
stop
can't
talking
degrade
over
in
each
my
other.
mind.
You can't. Why are you interrupting me so much, please?
Yeah, please.
I
Because
know.
I can't let you say something that degrades something that was a beautiful experience to go through, bro.
Look,
guys,
I know who Tom
please,
Hilfiger
please
is.
wait,
but
hold on, guys, wait, hold on. Please stop talking over each other. It's incredibly annoying for the viewers. If one person's talking and you really don't like what they have to say, grab a notepad and write down what they're saying so you don't forget. Please don't talk over each other. Okay,
Look,
Finn,
Well,
finish your point.
okay,
Hold on,
I
Finn
hear
was
you,
talking.
and what I would say to that, I agree. Now, again,
Wait,
this
hold
is
on,
just
Finn,
more about
Finn,
personal attacks than it
Jason,
is Tekken 8.
nothing's personal.
No,
here.
I'm saying not you, Mike. I'm saying Finn.
No,
Finn
it's
is back on.
Jason.
Oh well, you don't know the moves as deeply because
No, look.
So like you're back on attack Jason than attack.
Jesus, this was a
And let's
mistake.
talk about the mechanics of Tekken 8. Why might they be good? Why might they be bad? What are the pros of this mechanic?
Yes, and I will
What are
go
the
into
negatives
that
of it?
as well.
No,
I
no,
will
you're
go
not.
into
You
that
keep
as
reverting.
you
keep
don't know where
reverting. You
I'm
can't
going
help
with this. I
yourself
have map.
because, like
Look,
I told you, you're more about winning an argument than
No,
you are about finding truth, bro.
Jason, I want to find truth. I really do. I want nothing
you
more
wanna,
than to.
you wanna
Why are you
throw
interrupting?
me
You are
under the
interrupting
bus.
me
You
again.
wanna tell people
Guys.
how bad I am.
Guys, please, okay? You're not 10 years old. Please stop talking over each other. If one person's talking,
Mike, I
let
don't-
the other one finish. Okay, Finn is gonna start, then Jason's gonna go. Then Finn,
Okay.
then Jason. Okay, no
Jason-
interrupting. Okay, Finn, please go.
Jason, I just want, because you told me in your tweet that this is evidence that season 2 is great and 1% needed tuning, and otherwise the vast majority is excellent. And I want just you to tell me what is the vast majority of the update. So you imply you know about it. 5 minutes ago, you said you know very much about the game because, you know, history and Tom Hilfiger and shit. Now, I respect that, but because I might be missing something here, and I need your wisdom, literally, to explain me why this shit is sick and I have it wrong. This is all I want to do.
Okay. Let me know when I can answer.
Go on, Jason.
Okay. I want to respect you, Finn. I don't want to talk over you is what I'm saying. The question was, why are you wrong and what you might be missing, and you want some wisdom from me?
Yes.
Okay. Let me sum that up. First off, as I've always said in vast majority of my tweets, say, in the end, Tekken is like whether a person likes chocolate or vanilla. How can you tell them, how chocolate is wrong if they like it? I mean, it's a personal taste. So some of Tekken 8's personal taste. However, like when you're saying vast majority, those are at least a little bit more tangible, right, than taste. And the reason I say the vast majority is good is because new moves, which all the characters got, dude, they're fun. They're fun new moves. They add to the people's kits. They're good. Now we can get into whether people think these new moves are bad or not. And I think it's a case-by-case basis. And we could talk about Tekken 8 mechanics like that, which I would appreciate more so, instead of, look, Jason doesn't know shit what he's talking about. Look, you always bring up like Korean Americans. Look, are you even expert in Tekken? Do you even know what you're talking about? I mean, it's like, dude, let's talk about Tekken 8.
I that is what I want. What I tried to do.
Okay, and
So-
I answered you. I gave you the answer that the new moves, and because of the vast majority of the update, were pretty damn cool for a lot of players.
Okay, but now it's okay. Okay. So I just wanted to ask you about certain things that was in season 2 and that they changed. But we can go to the state of the game right now if you want to. Do you
Sure.
want to?
Yeah, I'd love to talk about Tekken 8.
Okay. So a Tekken 8 move, I would like to ask you if this move is fine or if this move might be disrupting certain things. Is, for example, something like Asuka Naniwa Gusto forward 1+2 and running 1+2. So
Right.
can you describe to me what this move does? What these two moves do?
Well, I don't play Asuka, but I do know that they're plus on hit, and people have really
How
argued
much?
that I don't know, +4, +5, +6. Look, I'm not as well versed in data as I used to be, frame data, because I'm not playing it 8 to 12 hours.
You play
a day.
more than
back
me.
Then, back then, but there's a difference. Back then, I used to study and memorize the data, bro. I'm equal to just a high level casual player nowadays. I'm more than casual because I go to tournaments, I try my best. But look, I know I'm trash at the game. I know I'm trash because I get to compare myself to when I used to play 8 to 12 hours. When I compare myself there, I go, oh God, Jason,
we will
like you're horrible. You're trash at the game. So I get I'm trash at the game. However, if we can keep this not about me and more about what you're saying on her moves and her additions, because again you attack me from the angle. Well, you don't even know the exact plus frames.
But
is it about me again? All right, let's talk about the game. Okay, I'm trying to keep this.
I talk about the game.
Yeah, and I'm trying to get to the point. Okay,
but this is my point.
I have to illustrate that you're still coming in on a strange kind of adjacent ad hominem attack.
Hey, Jason, you make this impossible for me.
So Asuka, it's okay that she received these moves, and here's why. Okay, because in Tekken 7, Tekken 5, Tekken 4, Tekken 3, Tekken, she was in 3 if I remember right. But all those, was she? I don't even remember anymore.
It is literally going to take years at this pace.
Asuka started in 5.
Okay, so through all those games that she was in, she was really not one
Jason.
that the elite players would take to win tournaments. Like if you were playing for $1 million, it was pretty rare that any player would say like, "Oh, you got to take Asuka." Like Asuka's the one, okay? And the reason it's okay they give them these new moves is because evolution is not bad.
But what new move?
I understand that this has impacted her defensive character type, and that she's maybe not as defensive as she used to be. But the argument against that, the other side of the coin is, well, then is she forced to be stuck in B tier status forever? Like that's kind of unfair to the character.
That's not my point. That's not my point. My point is, you said it is okay that they gave her these moves. What does the move do? Please explain to me exactly. What does these two moves? What do they do?
They're more offensive. She's more offensive.
I want the properties. I just want the basic properties of them.
Look,
please give them to me.
When I get hit by them, I don't attack. Again, you're attacking my personal knowledge on the game. I keep addressing this. But it's not so much about me. Like that plays a part, but obviously you should know and see that I know enough about it to speak to it, at least a little bit. I mean,
Jason,
you don't even have to agree with it. You don't have to be like,
look, I take you serious. I take you serious because I take you serious. You told me, I listened to every single one of your video, and you told me that you won tournaments, national tournaments in Tekken 4, 5, and Tag 1. So
I never said national tournaments. No,
you said multiple tournaments with more than 100 people.
Yes, I have. So we annexed Tokyo.
So if you did that,
but that's a regional, bro. That's not. That's not a national.
It's fine. I just say you should know how important it is to judge the state and the balance and the framework of a game. That you need to know with what tools we are working here. So please, if you don't know, just say
enough. I mean, if you would give me some charity, you would realize I know enough, and I'm speaking to it enough.
Okay. So you said
sorry.
Okay.
Can you?
No, it's fine. look,
what
okay,
Brian's
it's fine.
back 1-3 is. Okay, wait, real quick. Back 4. What? Back
it's fine.
8, back 9. And if you
this
do,
is
good for you, bro. You studied.
okay.
Proud of
No,
you.
it's not about that I studied, because literally you tweet so much and you still play the game. You have more games on Horang in ranked, and you possibly have another, maybe a K on quick match, right? That you cannot give me the excuse of, I don't have the time. You look, it's fine if you don't know. It's perfectly fine. I don't use this as an attack against
But
you.
I
And
do
don't
know to a degree. See, you want it one way or the other, bro. It's cut like most things in life.
look. Wait. I'm not.
there's
I wasn't
levels
done.
to
Wait. I
this.
wasn't done.
Okay.
Wait.
go ahead.
I wasn't done.
Okay.
Look, to me, it would. Okay, let me phrase this differently. It would, to me, be fine if you just say you don't know. And honestly, I don't care about your.
But I
rank and
can't
shit.
say that, Finn.
Look, I
I
wasn't.
can't say
Look,
I don't know because I
Jason,
know
let
a
him- let
little
him
I
bit.
wasn't done
Jason, let him
because
Okay, you're
look,
right.
you
I
said
apologize.
the move is plus on block, like maybe +4, maybe something. This move is +11 on block in heat. +11, Jason. Do you think it is good to have a mid that is a launcher in heat being +2 on block, and to have a running 1+2 that is a high that goes from +4 to +11 on block and also launches on normal hit? Do you think this is fine? This is just my question.
Okay,
And
so
why?
there are some moves that give me +13 on block, and it's a
Do you think
poke.
this move is
It's a
fine?
poke. So let me give you an example. Hurong's while standing 3, it's
Mhm.
+13.
Okay.
Guess what I get? I get a free heat engager that in addition gives me a +9.
Okay.
Okay. So
you-
so whether it's good or bad, you can laser focus on one move, and this is what you guys always do. You
What is
laser
your while
focus on
standing?
one move. Well, you asked me for an answer. I'm trying to
What
answer.
is your while
Finn,
standing
Finn,
free from
hold on,
Horang
do you
on
want me
block?
to answer?
Finn, hold on. Let Jason answer the way he wants, and then if you don't like the answer, push back on it when he finishes. Go on,
Okay,
Jason.
so I get +13 there. I go in the heat. I'm +9. Look, people laser focus on these moves. If you look at just that Hurong move or the Suka move, and you go, yeah, that's +13. Hell, Hurong has a 10 hit frame counter hit launcher in heat, right? I mean, these moves are overpowered in heat because that's heat. But if you take them in context and you don't look at just the move, you go, well, all characters have heat. All characters have really strong shit in heat. All characters can heat engage or heat burst to stop the momentum. All characters can, duck this move or block or whatever. Then it starts building some holistic nuance there. But if you just focus on, yeah, +11, yeah, fuck that. Or what about like the whole other kit she has or the whole other kit that the
And that is
opponent
exactly
is playing with, and you go, well, I'm not going to think about that. I'm just going to laser focus on this one move.
okay. So you didn't give me an answer. Well, you basically did. You said this is fine, but you said not really why. You just said because holistically people shit is strong. You then immediately used Horang's while standing free. I don't know why. Because would you remind me, Jason, what is Horang's while standing free on block now?
I don't remember what it is. It's safe. So
No, it's not anymore.
Oh, is it not anymore? Okay, yeah. So I would find that out in online player tournament play.
You find that out.
But what I would say to that is, it's not a heat move, right? I mean, hers is obviously a heat move, so there's a differentiator already there. And again, I'm not saying that moves don't need tuning. Like you've heard me say this, and I say it all the time. Yes, the game needs continual updates and balances. And if this seems to be one of those outlier tools that are so egregious, then it should use some tuning. But this is what I'd say to that too. You shouldn't tune a move so much that it ruins the fun for another person.
That is not what I'm
they all
saying.
have-
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Okay.
I agree with
Well,
you.
Awesome. I love that. See, and that's more the discussion I want is us to have this and find these common areas to talk about. And that's what I really appreciate. So that's pretty cool that we discovered that. So I would to say to Asuka's move also is if it's too powerful, needs tuning. But also, if all these new moves were so egregious, now I'm going to expand this conversation a little bit. If all these new moves were so egregious, then we'd see massive tier shifts in all the characters. But arguably, we've only seen Asuka and Lars. So maybe their tunes were a little too much and need to be looked at. But overall, the vast majority of the update I feel was great because everybody got access to new tools. And you come to a restaurant, I've said this before, you come to a restaurant for good food. You don't come to a restaurant because it's not fun to use, it's bland, it tastes like oatmeal.
I agree. Would you say that this is still like fine? Or would you say this needs maybe a bit of tuning? Like just this Asuka thing, does that need a bit of tuning?
So I would like to get into a discussion like how they identify what needs to be tuned, because
your opinion. It's your
my opinion.
It's just your opinion.
Okay, I have two opinions on this. One is it probably needs tuning because of this reason, because it's a PR nerf. You know what a public relations nerf as opposed to like a truly needed broken nerf is? Do you know, Finn?
Sorry, what a broken move is?
Oh, well, no, what a PR nerf is as opposed to nerfing a broken move or an overtuned move. So I'll give you an example. So a public relations nerf is kind of like what Sentinel had in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, or like I can't remember the character's name in Soul Calibur with the spear and the sword. So these characters were beatable in their games, right? But you had to be good. You had to be good. But it was so detrimental to like the community psyche, and people just couldn't get around it. Like your normal everyday casual couldn't address it. But good players were getting around it all day long. But because of that, Capcom was like, yo, we got to nerf this. And it's more for public relations and the optics and the feel of the community than it is that the move is actually overtuned. So I feel like her nerf might be more of a PR nerf need than it is a mechanical need. And what I mean by that is because she is doing better in tournaments, but I think that's okay. Like, I think the meta would be pretty boring if we just had characters permanently stuck in B tier status and you go,
I accept that answer. I accept that answer. Could you describe Brian's QCB one to me and tell me if that's fine? Because this is the actual reason why people are kind of fucked. This is the reason why people are kind of mad.
Forward punch plus, I know it's pretty big plus, right? +7, +5. What is it? You tell me.
Yeah, it's +5. It's +5.
Okay.
30 frames fast +5.
Brian's neutral is so out of control, bro. It's so.
So you would agree this needs nerfing?
Yeah, tuning, but I'm not sure how much. Like, again, we're looking at this one move. We need to take it in the context. Like, is Brian overperforming in tournaments? You know, he might be. You know,
tournaments is one thing. You know, Ty. Do you know Ty? He's a Brian main. And before the game even came out, he said, "This piece of shit. What is that doing on my character?" Now, there was already some feedback for Namco Bandai, by the way, which they didn't acknowledge. So even Brian players are looking at this and thinking this is a perversion, an affront to this move. So he says this shit could be neutral on block. Would you say this is fine?
Well,
it's still a counted launcher.
I mean, I don't laser focus on that move. I take a holistic.
But we need to.
And the reason I don't, well, here's the reason why, buddy, is because I can look at every character and they all have overtune moves. Could we say, do you think that's a fair statement?
Wait a minute, didn't you just say...
I thought you said the question. Do you think it's a fair statement to say all the characters have access to powerful tools?
To powerful tools, yes. But they did also in other games. That's not really the problem.
Right, okay, well, my view is since all characters have access to powerful tools, that unless we're seeing a real outlier, and I'll give you an example, like Leroy, day one Leroy. Come on, right? We can all
agree
that was way over.
Well, there are also, look, I just try to, because you say this shit is great and this shit plays great, and there are reasons why people think it might not that well. For example,
and those are legitimate feedback to give. I just ask that it doesn't get to dooming and hyperbolic, where it's like casino game, it's a party game. It's not.
But you know that people say
and I go, no, this game is worthy of playing. It's worthy of having a community and an inviting community where we're somewhat polite to each other and a community that people would want to come be a part of.
Look,
You know,
I just try to tell you exactly the reasons why people get so hyperbolic, because it's not that they are stupid. They know that the game is not obviously not a literal casino. Bro, I couldn't agree with you more on this. Otherwise, as you say, Arslan Ash
Okay.
wouldn't be the back-to-back EVO champion and Ulsan wouldn't be the back-to-back EWC champion. But there are
Thank
reasons
you.
of you
Thank
are
you.
obviously right. But Jason, there are big fucking reasons, and quite a lot of them, why people say this game is obnoxious as fuck, and quite a few situations in this game are cancerous as hell, and this is dog shit, and this needs to change.
well, see, I think that hyperbolic language, like saying it's dog
I mean,
shit,
that is not
stuff like
hyperbolic.
that.
That is not hyperbolic. I'm sorry. That is objective.
Okay, I disagree. I think it's subjective because you see it that way, and some other people don't. You know, so I think just by definition it's subjective. But I would say to that that hyperbolic language makes for not an inviting game, not an inviting atmosphere for the community. And being a person that actually built a local community and even a regional community with a national presence here and there, you know, the zeitgeist of the community is important to me. Keeping players, you know, positive about the future of the game. We all have our complaints about the game, you know, but, you know, to your point, that move being +5 and then even the tie is like, yeah, we don't want this move as Brian players. You know, I see some other players saying, well, you know, Brian's taunt's too strong. Well, we could definitely say Arslan Ash thinks Brian's too strong.
Okay, but do
wait,
you
let me
see
finish.
someone say?
I wasn't done yet.
Yeah, but okay, Jason, can I just ask you one favor?
I know, but
Okay.
you don't know the point I was going to make. I
Okay,
didn't
but
even get
one.
to ask it.
No, I let you finish. Just one favor, like maybe a bit
Okay.
faster. But go on, go on.
Okay, so although he doesn't like that move, okay, I see Arslan Ash and many other. I've even seen online people say Brian's taunt needs to be taken away because what other character gets an unblockable launcher? Like that's unfair. And so when we say nerfing and tuning, it gets to a different level. And maybe I'm hoping we get to these type of discussions because I find them more interesting. Is that, well, what does nerfing even mean? What does tuning even mean? Like make the game better. Like, okay, what does
Jason,
that
we
mean?
need to-
Because it means something
Jason.
different to you than it means to me.
No, to me it means something very, very
Yeah, it means something different
precise.
to you.
Actually,
Yeah.
look, I tell you
Different than
why
what
I
I do.
asked who. I tell you why I asked who, because Arslan Ash also says he doesn't like the game very much. But that is neither here nor there. So we can always point at like other people saying something like I did with Ty as a Brian player. But I want to hear your take, because when you say, well, I don't agree with you, this shit is not dog shit, then explain to me about your own character. Please tell me exactly why Flamingo 4-3 is not dog shit.
Dude, people step that move all the time.
You cannot
I
step
played
that
a Lily
move.
player last night. Right Flamingo 4-3.
Yes, you cannot.
Yes,
in these situations.
It's new +4 move, right?
Yeah, and in almost
Yeah,
any situation
yeah.
where you
No,
use
no,
it, you
yes,
cannot step
people
it.
do step it. People do step it. I'm telling you. I had a Lily player last night that ate me fucking alive. All right.
Jason, it's a
Not only
40 frame
did-
mid
and
mid.
then not
If
only
you
that,
do,
let's say there's multiple times to step it, okay? And let's say you don't step it, okay? The one jab after it is so steppable, it's crazy. Like
Is
people
it?
step and launch all the time on that
I
move.
see. So now, then let me. Okay, you know what? Let me tell you the reality about this, because you are maybe under a misconception here. So this shit is, you know, it's a 14 frame mid mid. So in most cases where you would use it, for example, after down 3-4, right? This is a brain dead mid option, because you cannot step it. You are +14. You cannot step this. Now, this goes into left Flamingo, right? Now, you said something about this in the last podcast, which is why I said I indeed listened to you. You said, just sidestep right, bro. Now, I will tell you something here. This is where knowledge is simply important, because if I were under that impression, I would also not think the move is dog shit. But let me quickly just tell you. First of all, Horang has a homing mid option, forward 4. So as you said,
Yeah, that gives up
sidestep.
its turn.
Look,
It's
wait.
a fucking- Yeah, move,
You just so you could say you just need to sidestep block right? Just sidestep block. That is what you said. But are you aware that this exact sidestep block timing loses to left flamingo down 3-4, which loops back into right flamingo?
Wow, it's a rock, paper,
It
scissors.
is. Wait, I'm not done. I'm not done.
I
I'm
never
not done.
thought Tekken would
Wait,
be rock,
wait,
paper,
I am not
scissors
done.
game. You are
I
blowing
am
my
not
mind,
done.
Finn.
Can you
Blown
please
away
let me
here.
finish now?
Jason,
Blown
please.
away.
So maybe we can, Jason, maybe we can try sidestep left here instead of right. Well, in this case, down back 4, which is a low that in this case is homing, and +4 and -12 on block on top of that. Yeah. And Horang's most annoying option that you want to avoid by going right. That is what you said, the 2 jab. If you go into this direction, you can no longer avoid this. Not even fucking Lily can avoid this. Which is the flamingo
Okay.
jab, which is +5 on block. And you know what the most important point here is, and why I mentioned this move, which you don't know, even though it is on your main fucking character, is this
Yeah, I don't know,
situation.
dude. I
Wait,
told you last night before
wait. Is this situation completely busted and game breaking like Akuma level shit? No, it is not. Does it make the game unplayable dog shit? No, it does not. But the question
Okay,
is,
but
Jason,
see,
I want to
when you use
wait.
language,
The
that's
question
option.
is, and I
Okay.
want to ask you this question, is should a situation like this be created from absolute brain dead moves? That is my question. Do you think this situation should be created from a move that is that brain dead?
Okay, so there's a couple of questions or things you have in here that I need to unpack. One of them is that
It's a yes or no. It's a yes or no answer. A yes or no.
Well, yeah, but you talked for like 2-3 minutes, so there's a lot there, and I will get to your question.
Yeah, because you didn't know your own move on your own character. But you want to tell me season 2 is sick.
I do know my move on my own character. It can be stepped. I'm telling you, I played with it the other night. Not only that, like the typical Korean knowledge on, I shouldn't say that, the typical knowledge on Flamingo Step is that he's steppable when his leg is up. That's like just kind of rule of thumb stuff. It's not always true, right? He does have a homing move out of it, but that's the first thing I want to
Jason,
address.
I leapt this.
Let me finish. I'm trying to answer your question. That was the first thing you said was like, well, if the option doesn't work out, he has this option. And I go, yeah, that's always been Tekken rock, paper, scissors. How that's every fighting game is rock, paper, scissors, right? I mean, that's so like just par for the course. And then whether I think it's a brain dead move or not, look, there's all moves out there that are somewhat spammable, but again, all characters have access to tools, and I don't focus on one to say the game is dog shit. I take it holistically. They all have powerful tools.
Jason, my question once again, I will clarify this. I am perfectly aware that fighting games have a lot of guessing in them, every single one. That is not my question. My question is...
I know it's not your question, but I had to address it.
My question is, once again, should a situation like this, and you can trust me, I leapt this out, okay? My question
I have a
is,
video I'll send you.
My question is,
and maybe I'm wrong. I mean, you seem really convinced on
Jason,
this,
let him finish.
My question is, and I could explain the situation again to you or show you literally right now in game. My question is, should a situation like this be initiated from a move that brain dead? Because once again, it is a 14 frame mid that also second hit is not parryable, and it also acts as a counter hit tool because on counter hit it is natural. It is 14 frames fast. Under almost no circumstance, if you get a hit into Flamingo, are you stepping this? You are not. Even from down 3-4 not, which you are plus 14. So once again, Jason, should an RPS situation like this be initiated from a move like that? I will ask you this.
Like, should Brian have his quarter circle back one? Like, should Asuka have her new plus frame moves? I mean,
exactly.
Again,
Jason,
I don't know how many
it.
different ways I can say the same thing. The same thing is they all have access to powerful tools. Like, again, this goes back to the very beginning of this so-called debate, is that you don't take the nuance I give, and that's fine. Like, I don't even have a problem.
I don't take the nuance you give. Are you kidding me right now? You didn't even know this move.
Is, you don't leave it at here. Here's a better way to say it. Let me clarify. Is that you don't go, okay, Jay, that's the way you see it. I see it differently. We're just going to have to agree to disagree. You know, but you're like, no, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. And I go, dude, like, no, sorry, I do see that as a rock, paper, scissors situation. Dude, I don't see that as overly strong because other characters have overly strong shit. And you're like, no, you're wrong, you're wrong. And I'm like, okay. And then
you realize that you have perfectly encapsulated, you have perfectly described the problem. So you say we have to agree to disagree. Okay, we could, Jason, but you gave me no argument at the fucking all why you think this is sick, okay, or leads to a better Tekken experience. And what you also have not even done is knowing.
Well, no, you
didn't
didn't ask those
wait,
questions.
wait.
You didn't ask
You-
about a better
Jason,
You
Tekken.
didn't even know about this, and this is your fucking main character. And now you just said, oh, you know why it's not a problem? Because other characters have that shit as well. Do you realize that this is exactly the problem, Jason? I'm sorry, I don't want to insult you, but you get me really close.
Well, look, every Tekken's different, bro. Okay? Tekken 1's different than Tekken 2. Tekken 8 is different than Tekken 7. And there's pros here, real pros for Tekken 8 that has over Tekken 7. Is everything always an improvement? No. I watched your Akuma video, and I agree with you that there is not as a high level of expression for some of these characters, like an Akuma type character, or better said, would be like a Law character, right? Yeah, the level of
Remind me.
player expression, that dragging stance is so easy that you don't even have to cancel into it anymore. You can just do it. They made that easier. And all those people that had the legacy time in to do that with Law, I mean, that showed, some real skill there. Like, yeah, sure, absolutely, you're right.
So is this one of the things where you would actually say...
Oh, go ahead.
Is this one of the things where you would say, yes, that is... Because someone like you, who is on this shit for so long, you can have no other take than what they did to Law is dog shit. Would you agree? Like complete and utter dog shit.
I wouldn't use that language, bro. That's the point that I'm coming from.
But how would you describe this?
Because I don't want to demotivate players. Well, because Law is still a fun character to use. He may not be as fun for some people, but people love the character. And he's still competitive. Like, if it was just like not competitive and no skill, then we wouldn't see any, like, hell, even pros still drop combos. Even they miss timing, So it still has a level of execution. It still has a level of difficulty. As much? No, I think we would both
DSS?
Agree. Right. Yeah, we would both agree it's not as much. But
no, wait, not
still
as...
a level of expression.
Nothing. There is nothing anymore.
Okay, well, when I see Qdons play Hayachi, I totally disagree.
No, wait. With Law. Wait, Jason.
Yeah.
Can you
you just said nothing, so I'm just extrapolating.
No, I mean Law.
Okay. Law. Sure, absolutely. There's no level of high level expression. I agree with you. Like I already said, I don't know how many times I have to say, I agree with you. That level of expression is not in the game anymore. And could be a bad thing, yes. Could be a good thing, yes. I think it's...
Why is it a good...
I think it's up to the player to decide.
Wait, wait a minute, Jason. Do you actually know what they did to DSS, or are you just trying to agree with me somehow? Do you know what they did to DSS?
No, dude, I'm not here just to agree with you somehow. I'm saying, like, that's a legitimate take. And like I've always said, there are legitimate takes here. And they can take that and move it into Tekken 9. Maybe they're going to want to create that. But they have to know what doing that, it's going to exclude some players from playing Law. That might be a worthy thing to do, because it might make the competitive scene more happy. They'll be like, look, us as competitive players, we really appreciate the skill expression, and that's something that they should fully look into and decide upon. But just because Tekken 8 is different than Tekken 7 and Tekken 7 is different than Tekken 6 and Tekken 6 is different than Tekken 5 doesn't mean these different Tekkens are dog shit. That's a
No, it doesn't. Of course not. But I mean,
can I just jump in for a second here? I want this debate to move in a way where questions are being answered. And right now, there's a lot of gish galloping going on. So what I want going forward is, if someone asks a direct question, I do not want references to other games. I want a direct answer from both of you about the game being asked, because we can all gish gallop. All that does is drag a conversation into a place where people can't even answer half of the arguments being presented. So if someone asks a direct question about a game or a character, please don't reference a previous game or previous iteration of the character unless asked otherwise. Okay. So, Jason, if you want to, who was speaking? Sorry.
I
I'll let
don't
Jason
even
go.
remember.
Look, Jason, I just
So if you want questions, I pretty much laid them out already in my opening statement that we were going to talk about Tekken 8, and that being 50-50 casino, defense is dead, game has lost its identity, or characters have lost their identities, and I disagree with those. And so those are all the questions I felt like we could address.
Okay.
Instead of like what my experience is. You don't know shit. You don't know. So
I didn't say.
if you
Look,
wanna
I didn't
stick to
say
some-
that.
If you, I'm just like you said, 50-50 casino. It's just
Jason,
the way
I
people
didn't say
express
that.
themselves, bro. I'm just using it as a term to express myself, bro. It's
No,
not
but I
a,
tell you why.
exact
But here,
term.
but here, the Horang situation. That is why people use it, because you even said yourself, yes, this move leads to an RPS situation. But the question is,
Okay, but okay, you finish, and then I have an answer.
the question is not the problem is not the RPS situation. The problem is, how is this situation be created? And these tools, this in particular, is a season 2 tool, which you said only 1%. The vast majority was excellent. So
okay, it is an
and
excellent tool because it's fun to use. But I have another example why this tool's okay. Not only because RPS is okay, because RPSs exist in every fighting game, but I have another example why it's okay.
Okay, then go.
Okay.
Yeah, go.
Okay, so the reason it's okay is because, again, when we laser focus on these moves and we look them at a vacuum, we go, yeah, that move's a problem. Whether it's Asuka's, Brian's, Horong's, or whoever. But these moves don't exist in the vacuum. It takes risky poking, risky positional wins, and risky timing wins. And if you win those risky wins of position, timing, pokes, then you're given the opportunity to do those RPS moves a lot, or 50-50, things like that. But again, I'm looking at the whole picture. People are looking at just a laser focus move like we've been talking about. And I'm saying, yeah, the game is more than that. The game isn't so fragile that
But you can only
the game isn't so fragile that 1 to 3 new moves per character has ruined the game. 1 to 3 new moves per character, I've done the math and I forget exactly. It's like out of the 100 character kits moves, that's like 1 to 4%. And that's even when you address the fact that, you know, people are maybe just using 20 moves out of that, you know, 100 set. It's like not a huge change. So the character is 96 and 99% the same.
Let me. You're completely correct about that. So let me ask you a question. So Zafina got a few new moves. Now there's one move in particular, which is back 1+2. There was one move. Do you know what this move does and did?
I don't.
There's
remember.
only
Is
one
that what
move.
It did that big old huge punch. Is that the one? And like left
It
her
did
like
it did a
hugely at
big
plus?
Assassin claw, yeah.
Yeah, and it left her like a huge advantage, right?
No,
and
it
like
was
what's
a
on wake up. It's horrible, right?
it was a full screen homing
Yeah.
mid that was
Yeah.
+4 on block. Now, would you
No.
agree? Because you said if the game isn't as fragile that one move can basically like ruin a character or change. Like the thing is, Jason, the problem here is that these moves are that powerful that even these 3 or 4 or 2 can heavily warp not the win rate of the character, or now the character is tournament dominant. You are correct. You are completely correct about that. But that is not the problem. The problem is the whole gameplay loop and the round-to-round gameplay changes in a way that a lot of people would call dog shit. Because something like Zafina's back 1+2, even though it lost the homing property, is still a half screen mid that is +2 on block now and gives a full wall splat. Now I give you another example. Let's go to a game that I actually like.
You can
but
use
not do-
June's like half screen like hit. Like I get it. There's so many.
No,
moves
the
that
thing.
are, like,
So
you're
you
like,
would agree
whoa.
here, because I can also go to a game that you know how many people glaze that game, right? But I played that character. I played Akuma. Now, what would you say if Akuma suddenly there's a season update and Akuma doesn't have down 3 and he gets down 3. Would you say that is a move that can actually will now transform the character in something that is very problematic?
Well, this is what I would say to that. We have to give these moves breathing room to see how they play out sometimes.
Exactly.
And so, like, Paul's, and some of them you don't, like Paul's and Jack's makes noise obvious out the gate, like, oh yeah, no, this needs to be fixed. Some of these moves, like Harong's down 3+4, it used to like do knockdown on counter hits, something like crazy. I forget what it was. I
can tell you it was plus 32.
You'll have to forgive me on that.
It was plus 32.
Yeah, it was just crazy, right? Like, so that needed tuning, but I do think it's still a good addition to his kit. And it's Suzuka's too, like I do too. And the reason is, like I stated before, is meta keeps the game interesting when meta shifts. And if the game is just to say stagnant and there's no character evolution, I do think that's unfair because, like I said, some characters in Tekken 7 and 5 and 4 and just the whole Tekken series, like, it's always had the problem of some characters just being stuck in B tier status. And so what's been refreshing for me as a Tekken fan throughout the franchises is I feel so many more characters are viable in 8. Like, where I felt like maybe just 50% of the characters were viable in maybe Tekken 5 DR, I'm talking high levels of play here, that I feel in Tekken 8, boy, man, we have seen some great character diversity at ECW, at Evo Vegas, and people always go, well, not Evo Vegas because it was a mirror match. I go, yeah, but if you look at the top 8, like, there was still diversity. We did have 2 Annas. Like, I get the complaint. It's not the best feel. But still, even with that, it was pretty cool to see Arslan, Ash, and Antif kind of tell Arslan, dude, this is my character. Like, there was a sub-story there that was pretty cool that I enjoyed watching. And then Arslan we did get a lore accurate ending too, which was the sisters fighting each other. So there's still things to take away and enjoy about it.
Ben, you there?
Yeah, but Jason, we are drifting every time we are drifting like so much away because all of this shit is like, it makes up season 2. It makes up this game. And when you say these moves need breathing room, right? Now, a lot of these moves that are still in the game, they got their breathing room, Like, for example, heat smashes, they got their breathing room. And, I don't know. Every person I asked that I play with is like, I think that shit would better if that wouldn't be so heavily rewarded on block. Or that quite some of them, even if they whiff, still not insanely easy to whiff punish as they should be. Now, this shit is in the game for more than 1.5 years. And I want to, because I think we have a big problem here, Jason. And I want to, just with one move, because this is something that you said as an argument in the last talk. And I looked into that. Now, do you know Leo, right? Now, Leo has now a low in BOK, which is +2, -13. It has incredible tracking. So in most situations, you're not stepping that, right? Now,
it's not huge damage, though. Thank gosh for that.
It doesn't do that. You're right. But now you have a reason to duck into BOK. And he has block 2, which is a safe mid-launchers. Now, once again, I'm not saying this is like game ending now, right? Because they made it not -12, but -13. I'm not saying this is game ending or something. But I'm saying I noticed something that worries me. Because they already had this low before. And now I want to address this. You said this, we also need to give them maybe a bit more time from like arcade release. You mentioned this in the past, like, hey, arcade release and then the home release comes. But Jason, something that makes me worried and why I think this is really bad is because in every single one of those instances, when I looked into it, or I actually know about it, this shit was toned down. And with Tekken 6, the Bloodline Rebellion version was released in a shorter time frame than Season 2 was released for Tekken 8. They had less time for that, for Bloodline Rebellion. And do you know what they did? Because in Tekken 6 Vanilla, Leo had this low, a low like this, in Vanilla. They removed it. Back then, They said this shit is too powerful. He shouldn't have a low that wants you to duck this stance. This is stupid. They themselves, the Tekken developers themselves, at that time, the old team or whoever it was, looked at this and said, this is dog shit. They said that, not me. And they removed it. Now, do you now realize why people are so mad and worried? Because they had the feedback, they had the time for the entire season 1, and even before that, in the network test, and we get season 2, and that now they take their fucking time to do anything about what's left? This is why, Jason. This is why people are pissed. Do you acknowledge?
Okay. So you said a few things here, which I wanted to give you your space and not talk over you. So I can answer now, right? So, okay. The first thing you went to is like dislike of Heat plus moves on block, and Heat was definitely overtuned. I mean, Heat was too strong in the beginning. I totally agree. It was plus 17 on hit. I mean, right? That's just too much. However, we're not there today. Heat today, although still plus on block on some moves, some basic pokes give block on, or plus blocks on move. Brian's back one is plus, I think, 4 on block.
That's correct.
So basic pokes give pluses, right? So
even though
that
back one,
Heat
I
gets
wouldn't. That is not a poke, but yeah.
Oh, okay, but let me finish. And some basic pokes, not only do they give plus on block, they also give plus on hit. Now that Heat is properly tuned, because it was overtuned in the past, even with the pluses on block, it's like some pokes. And even on hit, now that it's just plus 9, that's like some pokes. A basic jab punch is plus 8, just 1 frame less than what a Heat engagement.
I know your take on this, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, and that's all I'm saying is a balanced look. Like I agree, and you know, and I think part, and I don't blame us as like human beings or people feeling this way, because if it feels so bad sometimes the first time out, it's hard to get used to maybe when it's like made better, you know, because you just got those old feelings. And like, look, yeah, old Heat, totally egregious, but new Heat, I'm like, dude, it's a pretty looking poke. It looks and it feels good.
I can get to that if you want, but I wanted to have your take on the Boklo.
Right. Okay. Right. And well, you said that part first, so I wanted to address that. And then your second part on them taking out his low attack out of 6 because they said it was egregious at 6. Yet they bring it back in 8.
Yeah.
You know. You're asking me to kind of pontificate. What's the questions that you asked me? Like, why would they do this, or like?
Nah, I'm asking you. Like, no, it's not why. Okay, I mean, we can speculate why they.
Right,
I mean, you already said it. It's too egregious, right? It's too egregious. That is why they didn't give it to him. Why they took it out, and it never came back until season 2, Tekken 8.
Right. You know, maybe it's personal taste on this. Like I said, chocolate vanilla. I don't have a problem with it because it's not that much damage, right? I'm like, yeah, okay, it's a little poke. I mean, it's good. You know, he has the option now. It's again rock, paper, scissors, just like, you know, so many things in any fighting game. And I go, well, since it meets the rock, paper, scissors metric, it meets that he still needs to win risky position on me. He needs to win risky timing or risky pokes. Like, since it meets all that, I'm okay with that because it doesn't do a lot of damage. Like if it was something just egregious, I would have a real problem with it. Now, in terms of like why they would bring it back, well, like you said, you're 100% correct. Speculation, I couldn't speculate on that.
I mean, so you don't have a problem with this as well, with this design, that like the stance has to have an effective mix-up. That doesn't bother you because the low doesn't do that much damage. Is that your take?
And because and I would like to know the frames. Like, you know, if I was really going to dig into this, what's the frames of the low for the active frames to come out? What's the frames of the mid? Sometimes there's a, you know, you can just get decent at a fuzzy duck. You know, does it have that ability? We're like, man, if I fuzzy duck with 2 frames, I'll parry that low and stand up in time for the mid. You know, so
Well,
I'd like
Jason,
to
I
dig a
don't
little
want
bit
to.
deeper on anything like that.
It's a free frame fuzzy, so you're not gonna fuzzy that.
Yeah, then yeah, like I said, still don't have a huge problem with it. It's not a lot of
So
damage.
you don't have. Okay, that's
It's not
all I want.
winning. Yeah, it's not winning him any tournaments. Like if it was an egregious move, I'd be
It's
like,
not
whoa,
about. It's
shit.
not about that, Jason. Why? It's not about that. It's not about
Well,
that.
but it is to me because I look at the holistic view. Well, a lot of people that are detractors of Tekken 8 are taking a very myopic view. That's just not what I do. I've been through this rodeo a million times. Literally, when Tekken Tag released the Tekken 4, so many people hated 4. And then when 4 went to 5, I had some players that were like, I hate 5. It's nothing like 4. I love 4. I'm like, going, what? What are you guys talking about? And then when 5 went to 6, the same thing. So I got used. So Tekken 8's old news to me in that sense. What you mean? Some players are dissatisfied? Shocking, because every Tekken is different, as I said. Tekken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is different. And guess what? Tekken 9 is going to be different too. I just don't want our experience as a community to go through.
Jason, let me just cut you up for a second because I want to move this debate forward, and I do like Finn's line of questioning when it comes to Leo's stance. So I'm going to ask a question for both of you, and I'll let Finn answer first, and then Jason. Just keep your answers brief and concise. If you're talking holistically with regards to a stance, and they add a new move in, right? We're talking interconnected, right? Yeah. I'll use Feng Wei as an example because I play him. If they add in a move that is a launcher that is safe, right? Holistically speaking, the entire stance has now changed. Everything has become much more powerful because nobody's going to duck Feng Wei's safe launcher, right? Let's say that back Kempo 3 becomes safe. No one's ducking anymore because why would you risk that? So suddenly, if we're talking holistically, the entire stance becomes a problem because everyone's going to have to eat the low now. You're going to eat the low because you don't want to get launched. So my question is, with regards to Leo's move that was in Tekken 6 and removed and brought back, holistically speaking, do you think it's a problem?
Yes, that's my
No,
take.
sorry, Fred, you're first. Go ahead.
I'm done. I'm done.
Oh, okay. So just my question then?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, I think we got to give these moves breathing room. Like there was such a huge response and hyperbolic response on the new moves when they were given originally in season 2. And as we've seen through all the major tournaments, that these new moves have not been so egregious that they're just spammed all the time. Like, oh man, you're just seeing every player spam that move all the time to make wins. Again, arguably only 2 characters have really moved around in the tier list, and that's Asuka and Lars. So, maybe that points to them, hey, maybe we need to take a look here. And I've always had try to approach this with more balanced view that, yeah, tuning needs to happen. And that's a tough thing to say because your idea of tuning might be different than my idea of tuning. So it's very difficult, I think, to try to approach. But I don't have a problem with the move because if it showed up as an outlier in tournament play, then I'll be like, yeah, maybe that's a problem. Like I do really feel like Claudio's charge move has showed up in tournament play to be just a little too powerful. If that move was like that, I would agree.
I want to try and keep this as concise as possible. So I've heard your answer. Let me ask Finn now. Finn, can you explain why this addition or re-adding of this move to Leo is a problem for the stance?
Well, it is holistically a problem because this stance was not a mix-up stance. And so it's not a problem for the stance. The stance is now better. But in terms of gameplay, I'm now adding a mix-up. Now I have a reason to duck into this. And on top of that, the low is relatively low risks. So this is just mix where there is no need for mix. Now, my personal opinion is that this shit is obnoxious and annoying to deal with, and not everything needs to be a straight-up mix. This is, in my opinion, why so many people get exhausted playing this stuff, because there is just constantly the threat of a mix and an RPS situation at every fucking turn.
I'd like to add on to the exhaustion point. Tekken 8 is more exhausting to play than Tekken 7. And I feel that's because the interactions do happen faster. They do happen more often. And Tekken 8 also requires you to have more matchup knowledge, and it requires you to use more diversity of defensive moves. Where Tekken 7, you're able to rely on a lot on Magic 4 and or KBD, and those were probably good options to go to, 50, 60, 70% of the time, depending on the character. You can't do that as much in Tekken 8. So you're required to use things like high crush, low crush, evasion moves like Kempo Step, AOP, Yoshi Spin, Sidestep, Sidewalk, and because these decisions come out so much faster at you, I agree. It is more exhausting to play. However, because they're coming at you so fast, I feel it's kind of also the hype. I mean, these matches are intense. Like when you're locked in, it's like second to second, so I think that can be a pro and a con.
I want to ask one question. I want to ask why I just need your, because you say you need more matchup knowledge and it's hype and shit, but you don't know anything about what you're dealing with in this game. You don't know, like not a single, almost not a single move I've asked you about that is season 2, which you make statements about season 2 that people treated unfairly. It wasn't as bad. It wasn't overreaction. I'm telling you the exact moves and why people are, in my opinion, not overreacting and still not overreacting.
Congratulations,
and you don't know them.
Proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that your frame memorization and frame knowledge is better than mine. Cool, bro. Cool story.
Not better. You literally have 0.
Okay, I'm sure that absolute statement is correct.
Yeah, bro. Okay, Raina down
it's
2,
1
+ 2.
Personal attacks, Mike. Come on, moderate this.
It's not a personal attack. It's literally a fact.
Okay, wait, hold on. Let me just explain. If we're talking about anything, for example, if I was talking about a manga and I asked you about a particular chapter in a debate and you didn't know the answer, then it would be fair to say you're not equipped to talk about said thing.
Okay, but
hold on, Jason.
Right.
Hold on. It's not a personal attack.
Go ahead.
It's not a personal attack to say that in a debate, because the point of this debate here is, I guess, Finn is trying to prove that you're not equipped to talk about Tekken 8, which is not a personal attack. You might think that you are. You said earlier that you know enough, but you knowing enough,
and that's exactly my point. I know enough.
Hold on.
This was a talk
Jason,
about Tekken 8, not Jason.
Jason, chill. It's not a personal attack. It's if you think you know more enough, somebody else might say you don't, and that's where the debate starts, right? And you try to push back.
I've addressed this. It's just that Finn doesn't like my answer, and like I've said, if
he
it
doesn't
was
have to like it though. It's not a personal attack.
It's my turn to answer, right? Okay, so here's my answer: is that all the nuances I've given Finn, he just tosses aside. That's fine. That's his thing to do. However, to say that I know nothing about Tekken 8, that I know absolutely 0 frame knowledge, it's just, come on, man. I mean, can we see that?
I gave you example.
Can't we see that's a bit hyperbolic? That's a bit.
Okay, you can call. Okay, you can call it a bit hyperbolic.
To the point now, Finn, that like you don't believe I know anything about the game and legitimacy. Then why did you even have the chat with me? That means the reason you would have the chat with me is because you want to do personal attacks. That's why.
No, can I? Okay, wait. You asked the question. I will answer this because on Twitter, where you like to tweet so much, you never really address a specific thing, but you always talk about nuances. But you're not willing to wait. Can you please shut up for a fucking moment? You always say, I don't want to address nuances. And when someone with you actually wants to get into the meat and bones of what makes a fighting game, for example, moves and how strong they are, how much option coverage they are, you simply say, I don't know. I ask you about your own fucking character and you don't know. So you think it's a bit hyperbolic to say that
I know enough, Finn. I mean, I've given you examples, and every example I give you data points, whether it's tournament results or, hey, it's +9 now. It's no longer +17. So, but I forgot. I know nothing. No frame data. Look, see how you're pigeonholing me? you're a piece of work, bro. And
thank you for
Mike,
recognizing
I
this.
really find it like that you don't see that the way he's couching this is more, look, Jason doesn't know shit. He doesn't know that. And that's not what this discussion was about. There is a legitimate take, to be charitable to you, that a person has to know enough, right?
Okay.
I think I have definitely shown I know something, you know.
Look,
Wait,
you
Finn,
don't know
that's
enough.
not what Finn's saying.
You don't
Finn's saying,
know
I don't
enough.
know shit.
Guys, wait, hold on, guys. Let me just ask a question to Jason so we can move this forward and get away from the personal stuff. Is Tekken your entire personality? Just yes or no?
What does that mean?
Is Tekken because some people a piece of media or a piece of entertainment encapsulates everything about them. It's all they are. Is Tekken your entire personality? Do you eat, sleep, wake up? All you do is Tekken.
I think you can even see from my background that's not the case.
Okay,
I love comics. I love art. I love movies.
No, it's fine. That's fine.
And you know, and that's the thing. That's
Jason, hold on. You don't need to. You don't need to go
but you
beyond.
asked me a question. Can I answer?
No, I asked you yes or no. You're not answering yes or no. I just wanted yes or no.
Okay, no.
Okay, so if Tekken is not your entire personality, this is not a personal attack. This is an attack on your characterizations and your arguments on Tekken. We have got to get away from this emotional talking point. There's no personal attacks here. None.
No, because I'm sorry, we're just gonna have to agree to disagree here, okay? Because if he keeps going back to the same well, saying, Jason, you don't know shit, okay? That's a personal attack, okay? If he's saying that people, let me finish. If he's saying that I misled people, then, or I'm talking bad like on Speedkicks, how he said, that I'm misrepresenting people. Look, he had a point, I didn't speak exactly there, but it's still an attack on my character. And might you forget, and this is just amazing to me, how a moderator can forget this. He's the one, did he, yes or no question, say he's going to make it about me? Did he say that in the beginning?
Yeah, but about
yes
your
or no?
takes on,
but it is about you. It is about you and me.
Okay, so Finn, just you're a piece of work, bro. You admit
Jason,
it's about me. So
of course, otherwise I would debate. I wouldn't debate you. But of course it is about you. Otherwise I wouldn't debate you.
And then you have our moderator here who leans into your position. Doesn't even recognize that the original take you took was you. I'm going to make this about
Jason,
you, Jason. Like, okay.
Jason, let me give you an offering. Because look, I know you were trained by the American Koreans and by Tom Hilfiger, but I have to stress this. You say I am someone that is actually overreacting. I'm trying to get to the nuances of shit. Now, the nuances of a fighting game is... Wait, one moment. Give me just one moment to finish this, bro, please. I try to go in the nuances. I ask you about the move, and I want to see if you know about it. Because if you don't, that is one more tiny reason why you might be wrong.
Oh my God, moderator, he's going to the same thing. Says the same thing over
is that
and over.
okay?
Jason,
why is that a problem for you? Why is that a problem?
I've answered this before, Finn. I said I know enough. I know something. I've dealt with the game for over 30
you don't.
Years, but you're like, but I don't. Okay, moderator. I mean, seriously. And
I try to prove that he doesn't. I try to prove that this guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Finn, you're into like person-to-person drama.
And personal drama, bro.
Yeah,
guys, both of you shut up for 2 seconds, okay? Please. It is, if we are talking about Tekken and someone says to me, Mike, you don't know enough about Tekken. They're talking about my knowledge on Tekken. They're not attacking me as a person. That is not a personal attack. Now, what I want to do going forward is get away from this childish shit because we are grown men. We're not doing this, okay? Now, if Jason doesn't like Finn's point and he says that Finn is leading the community in a bad direction because of the way he talks about the game, that's fine for him to say, and Finn can push back on that. If Finn believes that you're not knowledgeable enough to talk about Tekken, then that's fine, and you can push back on that. None of this is personal. We're going to drop this and move forward, okay? We are not 10 years old. Let us move the conversation beyond this.
Okay, can I have Finn recant that he's going to make this about me like his original statement said? Do you recant that, Finn?
But it is about your knowledge about the... I don't know how to answer this,
fair.
Jason.
Wait, hold on, Finn. That's fair. It's about your knowledge, not about you as a person. That's fine.
Right. And so we're just gonna have to disagree here, Finn. I know enough about the game. I may not know enough according to your standard, whoever you are.
Are you willing
But
to prove that you know enough?
but I know enough about the game. Sorry, your standards are so high. I'm hoping Nee can match your standards.
Wait.
Sorry, all us other players that go to tournaments, love the game, play a lot, don't meet your standards. Because Finn's the setter of all standards. Good work.
Can I
Finn.
define you my standard? Do you want? I can tell you my standard in one sentence.
No, because I don't care about your standard. Because I know I know what I know.
Okay, maybe the audience
People can
cares
hear me
about my
talk
standard, so
about-
I will.
They can see that I know enough. So
Look, my standard
because you
would
don't
okay.
know
in-
100% about the game either. That's my standard.
that is true,
I
but I know
want to be 100% about the game.
But
That's
Jason-
my standard to you.
No,
Do you
Jason,
know 100% about the game?
Jason, can you
Oh,
just
you're not meeting my
one moment?
standard.
Let me look. You know my I think that I actually know enough about season 2 and the game. You don't.
I don't
because
think you know
Shut the
anything
fuck
like you
up
told
for
me.
one moment.
That's what you
Holy
told me.
fucking shit. Look, my standard
using
is
your words,
that
bro.
maybe. Look, my fucking standard is that you should maybe be able to describe the new season 2 move you use on your main character. You can't even do that. You couldn't do
I
that.
told
Do you think?
I have. I
No,
told
you
it's
had
a
the
plus 4 move.
You said
I told
sidestep
you that
right
it
block,
was
bro.
Steppable. And even if I don't think I'm wrong at that, even after that, anything after that, follow up for the one that's the only thing that's truly safe after that. It's not even really safe because if you're really frosty, you can duck it and launch it, and you can sidestep and launch all day long. So
In what
I
direction?
know you're not correct on that.
In what
know.
direction?
It might be both. It might be like it's such
No,
a
it's not.
linear fucking
No,
move.
it's not.
Oh,
Not
okay.
even- no,
great,
it's not.
great. You met your standard of having a little more information than me, but you still
Because-
not
look,
meeting my standard of being
the-
100% knowing about fucking everything.
Look, that is because my standard is not that you should be able to know about everything. But I am not. Look, I am not the one
Dude, no,
going
who are
around.
you? I don't care about your standards, so we can get off standards. I don't
Bro,
care.
I know-
I don't
look,
care what your standard is.
I know that you like to inflate your ego by saying you have trained with the absolute best and inflating the
Dude,
amount
I've
of
already
tournaments
said I'm
that you
trash.
actually won.
I
But
already
look,
said I'm trash. That's not inflating my ego.
I know you like to do
I am
that.
a trash player compared to so many players, and what I used.
that
to
is
even
not what
be
you
a
usually
trash
tell.
player.
That is not what you usually tell people in your comments and on Twitter.
Well, because again, let them know I know enough. I mean,
No,
I don't
you
make
don't
your
say you are a
magical- I don't
trash
meet
player.
your
You
magical
don't say
standard,
that.
do I? Your Finn's magical standard. I don't meet Finn's magical standard. You know what? But I meet a standard of something. You know,
Yeah,
It's not
that
good
standard
enough
is
for you,
nothing.
Finn, and it's not good enough for you, Finn. Guess
Look.
what? I don't care. I don't care.
Okay, fantastic.
wow.
But let me
Okay,
just
guys,
tell
hold
you
on.
now.
Why
One
don't we
thing,
move
Mike.
on to
One
the
thing
next
I.
point?
Okay, just one thing I want to just Chaos RD is in chat right now. To him, you said you don't even know who I am, bro. I'm like I played this game for fucking 30 years, national level player. That is, I competed with this in this game for 30 years. That is what you usually like to tell people. Suddenly, when you are questions about it, when I question you about it, you are really quiet and say, I'm a trash player, I'm a trash player. Usually you go around telling people how sick you are and that you have
Because
trained with
these
the
things are done in-
American Koreans, Tom
I can answer
Hilfiger.
that. I can answer that. Okay. One is because these things again are done in context, holistically. Okay. When I view myself, like if I was just a player and I didn't have the history and I thought I was like a good player today, then I would be delusional. Okay. But I do know the history. I do know the levels of play. I do know like what it takes 8 to 10, 12 hours a day to play this game at a high level. Because I can see that peak, I go, man, I suck at this game. Like I am nowhere where I used to be. However, when people online are saying, well, you don't know shit about the game, I can go, whoa, I know something. Okay. And that's my problem with you saying in such a solid term that I know absolutely nothing about it. You know, screw you, bro. Screw you. I mean, that's
let me ask a question then, so
Well-
that can help this conversation move forward. I'll ask it to both of you. I'll let Finn answer first, and then Jason. If you are a high-level player in Tekken Tag 1 and you know loads about that game, do you believe that information transfers over to modern Tekken, like 8, for example? And I'm talking like completely. Like if you took your skills and where you placed in Tekken Tag 1 and that was like the last one that you placed at. And then post Tekken 5, because that's really the framework that we work from now. Do you think your knowledge on Tekken Tag 1 is going to be as good as somebody that actually sits down and plays Tekken 8 just because you compete at a higher level on that? I'll let Finn answer first and then Jason.
So his knowledge about, sorry, I didn't really, can you just very shortly,
If
again,
you
I
competed
just
at a
couldn't.
high level on Tekken Tag 1, do you think that because you did well on that game, that you have grounds to speak on Tekken 8?
No.
Okay, your answer is no. What is your answer, Jason?
Again, it's so myopic. I feel.
But you can answer however you
that
want. You
they-
have to say yes or no.
Right. Well, I think Finn's answer is myopic because it's just a no. Okay. Me, I take, again, sound like a broken record here. I take a full look at the history of Tekken. As I've said, none of us can argue this. Tekken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are all different. 8's different, right? And you have to approach each game on its own merits. There were some things better about Tag 1 than there was Tekken 4. There was actually some good stuff from Tekken 4 that moved forward, even though that's viewed as typically the worst of the series. It's the one that introduced walls. And we all love playing with walls now.
Do we?
Again,
Do we-
you feel that's where like your opinions can be different than mine on walls, you know? But yeah, I enjoy them. I know other players, I'm sure there's players like you that don't, and I'm sure there's lots of players.
No,
like
it's not that I don't. Well,
Wait, hold
if
on,
I play,
Jason.
Okay, I don't want to speak for you.
Jason, do you think that the walls in Tekken 4 operate the way they do in other Tekken games?
No, but what it does is give me an appreciation and an understanding from series to series. Like, there's such a great player, Junior from Arizona, that played Tag 1. He was exceptional. He was on his way, I think, to be a national caliber player. But you know what? He didn't like 4. And even when 5 came back and has a little bit more a throwback to Tag, he still didn't like it. And like I said, there's people that don't like 4, or that actually like 4. Can't believe it, but there are. And they didn't like 5. And that some people liked 7 and they don't like 8. I go, welcome to the archetype. Like, that is the archetype of every new game. How am I saying, like, am I wrong on this?
No, but that's not the question. That's not the question,
So
Jason.
yes, I think it does help in terms of understanding that new moves and new properties and new ways to operate are going to be in Tekken 8, just like Tekken 7, just like Tekken 6. And because of that, I think it does help.
That's not.
But I think it does. I'll give you an example where I think it helps. Okay, is because maybe a player like me who doesn't have that viewpoint to me, he's like, man, this isn't Tekken. This isn't it. But I go, no, every Tekken you got to learn new things. You got to adapt to new things. Like, I'm okay with it. So I think it does help. That's what you asked me. Do I think it helps? Yes, I think that holistic view helps.
No, that was my original question. I mean, the question that I just asked.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, do you want me to
what
go over
was
it
your
again?
question? What was your question? I must have missed it.
So, all right, I'll rephrase it. So in Tekken 4, they introduced walls, right? And at the time, people hated it. But now, over time, people have grown to accept walls, even though there's still a lot of people that might not like them. We've accepted them over time. But do you think that people would be happy with Tekken 4 walls in Tekken 8?
I don't think that's a realistic question because every Tekken refines and hopefully does improvement. So I find the question not like a question that would happen in reality. They wouldn't bring, I don't know where they would bring that exact.
The reason I'm asking you that
from 4 into 5, which they didn't bring the exact one into
Jason,
6.
the reason I'm asking you that is because if people go back and play Tekken 4 now, their gripes of the walls would be completely valid. And over time, they refined it. You're correct. They did refine it. But my point is that the walls were introduced.
See, okay, I disagree.
Hold on.
Okay.
You can disagree. I'll let you answer. My point is that they introduced walls in Tekken 4, and over time, they got better. They've introduced heat and a bunch of other things in Tekken 8, and maybe in future Tekkens, hopefully not, they'll bring it back and they'll refine it over time. But the initial introduction and the games that had them were not received very well. if Tekken 4 walls were in Tekken 8, the criticisms of Tekken 4 would apply to Tekken 8. So when people were bitching about Tekken 4 back then, they were well within their right to, the same way people are bitching about Tekken 8 right now because of the introduction of heat.
Okay, let me answer that. So yes, some people didn't like walls in Tekken 4, and absolutely I give them credit to say that it was a legitimate complaint to some people. But you know what, Mike? I know this might be hard to believe. Some people loved the walls in Tekken 4. Some, of course, they were player to player, sometimes player dependent, right? I mean, like Steve just had better wall combos. Paul had better wall combos. Just some characters had better wall combos, and that's true today too. So what if the so I don't accept the premise where you said that people in Tekken 4 are legitimate to criticize the walls, because some people did like the walls. Some people even like the elevation differences.
What do you think the general?
And to my bigger point, argue point is, yeah, walls are different in 8. They're different in 5. They're always different. Like Tekken is different every iteration we get.
I don't think you're understanding what I'm trying to get.
No, I get what you're saying, but it's done in a manner. The way it's couched is like would pigeonhole me to a certain way. I don't accept that course you're taking with it, which is okay. It just means we disagree even at the very premise where you're like, people had legitimate criticisms against walls. I go, yeah, well, there's people that love walls, you know.
Yo, Jason.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question about one more move that I find brain dead?
Sure.
Because I play that character occasionally. So I should actually have fun with this, but I don't. And it's Raina down to 1+2. Now, this is a 15 frame fast elbow that after a heat engage, unless you are someone like Jin or Leroy, is literally guaranteed to connect. And a completely brain dead mid check that is +10 on block into Unsoku. And if you are near the wall and that hits your normal hit, you're almost, you have a bad time. So this is where, like, I want the game to give me these like holistic nuances and shit, but there is none. Because down to 1+2 is that brain dead. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, and it could use tuning. I feel like it could use tuning. But again, you know, we look at so many moves, and I agree with you that needs tuning, you know. But again, I don't take the myopic view to extrapolate from that the game as a whole is dog shit. Okay, I take that.
I don't say that.
Okay, maybe you don't, but I guess let me reword it then. I'm glad to hear the clarification. Okay, thank you for that. So I feel a lot of the extrapolation I see online is people taking strong moves like that, not just hers, but other strong moves, and saying, well, the whole game is dog shit. And to those people that take that viewpoint, I go, yeah, you're just laser focusing on the one move. But if you look at it, all these characters have strong tools. Now, again, man, I'm looking to be balanced here because I know some moves need some tuning, right? So I'm not saying those moves don't need tuning. I'm just saying as a holistic view, like Tekken 8 is not the dumpster fire that some people act online. Maybe you don't act that way.
You have seen my videos. You know I don't act that way.
Okay.
You know I don't.
Right. So, and that's where my frustration as a player and a community builder in the past came from, was going, look, you may not be adding to it, but so much of the online Twitter discourse was so negative that we lost 3,000 players on stream. And at that point, I thought, oh no, our community leaders, the big talkers in our community, they'll talk and give some balance here. But that didn't happen. Just even more dooming.
But shouldn't you point the fingers at the developers for this and not the people who say this is bad and who maybe voice their frustration a bit extreme? Shouldn't you be pointing your fingers at the developers and saying, why did you do this? Why did you make us lose players?
Great question. And this is exactly where I was hoping like the debate would go, like more this way, because I think we're discovering new ground and talking about important things. So with that, it's a two-way street, okay? And the reason it's a two-way street is because you're right, the developers do have some culpability. As I said on the last podcast with Mike Hollow, I said, yeah, they probably need to figure out how to word things better, how to communicate better. Maybe that Discord server that they were talking about is the right way to go, because Twitter, I don't think is it. You get such hyperbolic takes. You get some people want to take away Brian's taunt. Some legacy players go, no, it's fair because it's like it's a mess. And I go, getting your ideas where to nerf and things like that off Twitter might not be the best thing. So yeah, I think the developers do have some culpability there. But I think players too, when the developers have responded with like, hey, heat has been nerfed, hey, sidesteps have been increased, hey, these new moves have been tuned additionally, that
Wait, what was
players
it?
need to give some charity there and recognize that and say, yeah, okay, they're listening to us, things are happening, instead of the continuation of this doomer talk. Because I feel about 80% of S2's been, they've done things to it. There's still 80%. Some things to be done.
Now
that's
we
what
go
I
there
feel.
again,
and
Jason.
we can go
but
back.
This is the problem, Jason. This is the core problem.
Let me finish. We go back and forth with what you feel. Maybe you feel it's like 10%'s been addressed. I feel it's 80, whatever. But my point I'm getting to is I think the problem has set them up for in the future that no matter what they do, it's just going to be detractors. They're like, it's not enough. You guys are doing. I'm like, whoa, guys, like it's a two-way street. We got to recognize some of the things they've done. Like there's balance here. I'm looking for a balanced take.
And I wanted to go there because I don't think it's balanced to go like you do on Twitter and be like, bro, everything is fine. Only 1% was a problem.
I don't say that. Again, you're misrepresenting me.
Wait,
I've never said
we showed your tweet on screen, literally your words. I don't know how you can now. Is it really?
I've always said the game needs tuning, and you can pick one tweet out of like literally the hundreds that I say the game needs tuning. I mean, a good way to ignore like the vast majority of the evidence where I always say the game needs tuning, where I always say needs balance. Finn, that's why I say you're a piece of work, bro. Because you do things like this. You pick one little thing, you pick at it, instead of looking at the body of work. So lame, bro. Good work. Yeah, trying to win an argument. That's such a lame way to operate, bro.
But,
when we should be working together to discover common ground and truth. Look, if we look at both sides of the coin, then we can let the viewers decide, and we can come to different opinions. That's all fine.
I mean, we can do those.
If you want to focus on one tweet out of hundreds where I say
I need
tuning, go for it.
Can you look? It is your words.
No, I gotta hammer it in, the piece of work you are, because
that tweet you didn't tweet that. Did you not tweet that?
I know that you came after me first. And I'm just defending myself.
Oh, you're
misrepresenting me by saying I'd say the game's perfect, doesn't need anything. When I've always said it says needs tuning. So since you're lying about how I feel, because I'm telling you how I feel, but you refuse to accept
Jason,
it.
I asked you about
out of hundreds. I have to illustrate to the audience, look, this guy is not representing me fully, and he's not representing or giving me any charity.
No, wait. Okay, Mr. Montoya. Wait, Mr. Montoya. I asked you about basically every single move, and you always said, I think that shit is fine. So, bro, you are just like, are you stupid? Like, I don't know what to say. I asked you about every.
Okay, yeah, Mike, this guy's.
Okay, wait. Yeah. Let me stop both of you. Okay, Finn, that was a personal attack. But Jason, calling him a piece of work is a personal attack. That's calling him a piece of shit. And
no, it's a piece of work, which I'm not.
What does that mean?
It means that you have really put together like a viewpoint, a working viewpoint that is putting me in such like as a bad character. And that means that you have a view on me, that you've worked up for yourself, that you're a piece of work. It's not calling him a piece of crap. I would never say that. I don't say that about people.
But look, that is Jason. What calling someone a piece of work's a piece of shit. And Finn, you did call him
stupid. Oh no! How dare you put that word in my mouth?
It's another way of saying it.
Look, I'm sure he's a good guy. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm sure.
Well, I'm not.
He has families.
I'm not.
Son, daughter, whatever.
Jason, I am not. Jason, I am not.
Okay, yeah, you're Mr. Evil. Sorry.
No, but look, holistic nuances are very important in this discussion, and I asked you if you are stupid. I didn't say you are stupid. You agree?
Yeah, but it's implication.
Yeah, but it's a holistic nuances. Come on, Jason, come on.
Oh, come on, it's a
Okay, well,
subtext.
let's stop. Okay, let's walk back from this because, like I said, if you look up what a piece of work is on Google, it's very clear. And maybe that's not imply that he's stupid either. Okay, let's walk away from that. Now, let me just help move this forward. In a debate, the purpose of the debate is to go at that person and their viewpoints. There is nothing is personal about talking about someone's tweets or talking about someone's YouTube videos. Okay, if you said something on Twitter, you just need to defend it, and then we move forward. Okay. That's all it is. There's no one's cussing anyone's mum here. Are we
So,
good? Can we
yeah,
move
let me give the definition piece of work. Describes a person often negatively as someone difficult or eccentric. You're
what does it
definitely
say under
difficult.
that?
To sometimes positively as complex or skilled. It doesn't say piece of shit. Because I won't call you that, Finn. I don't believe you are. I think you're a fine guy. I think we just agree on a game.
Not today.
Well, no, I think you're being difficult.
That is because people know me under a different name. Do you know I have a title?
I'm in America, bro. Titles don't mean shit to us.
Oh, well, okay. I mean, hey, if you don't know, I mean, hey, it's nothing new today that you don't know. But okay, let's move on. So where you want to go now?
Okay, well, let's park this. Okay, let me read over some of the questions that the chat has sent in because Jason mentioned earlier. Let's see how people have taken your discussion. So before we go on to the next point, I'll try to help move the conversation forward. I'll read out questions that people have for you guys. Is that okay?
Yeah.
The dragon, it's right. You see, he's in chat. People know.
All right. So, and also, are you guys okay with me reading out any super chat because people want to share their opinions on what you guys have been saying? So, are you guys
Jason,
okay?
I'm going to tell you, I will probably eat something, but Jason, I'm going to warn you, these super chats will not have the most holistic nuances about you. Some of them. I will just warn you about that.
Finn, I knew what I was coming into because that's the way Mike Hollow's chat has been. And, you know, it's not shocking to me that the internet's an unlimited supply of hate. It's a common term I use. That's the way people are on Twitter. That's the way people are in chats. It's an unlimited supply of hate. So,
but you know what frustrates me, Jason? I don't want to hate on you, and I don't think you are stupid. I take that back. I apologize for this.
Thank you.
But you know, you have to agree to a certain extent that you make statements about season 2, and that some people maybe feel you said this about people like vanilla and chocolate, and you said sometimes people believe in wrong axioms. That is what you said. I know what you said, and I agree with you that can be true, but to judge this, if people actually believe in, like you call it, like wrong axioms, right? Is that like a thing that is believed but actually can be not true? To judge this, you should know how season 2 and the reality on the ground in the trenches of ranked look like. And it doesn't look pretty, and it still doesn't look pretty. And you need to know with what motherfucking weapons these people are shooting at you. This is why I asked you about these moves in specific. It's not, I don't want to. Okay, it would be a lie if I say that to you. It's not that I don't want to expose you. You are right about that. But I think this is important. I think this knowledge shit is important. And I think you are unfair to people if you say, I am misleading someone, or maybe other people you mean. But I think you should know what you're talking about. That's all I'm saying. And I
agree with you. This is the funny part, Finn, that I agree with you. Like, a person should know what they're talking about. But that standard is different. Like, you have a much higher standard than what my hours in the game do today. You know, I don't memorize frame data like I used to. I don't memorize, but, you know, I still play the game. I still have a standard. It may not meet yours, you know, and yours doesn't meet mine, you know, but that's okay. So I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is, just keep hammering this point, is the chatter we've seen, because you're right, devs have culpability and we have, but I feel like the community feels like they have no culpability. Like, we can just be hyperbolic and negative on the game and 3,000 players leave Steam. It's like, no, like, something we got to realize, like, at minimum, do what we can do to see about staying positive about the game. And the reason we can stay positive is because we do have devs that listen. We see they listen. Maybe they don't listen to. Yeah, we do. Now, we may not listen the way you want them to or me want them to, and that might be good or bad, because a player may want to get Brian's taunt nerfed and taken away, while another player's like, no. So they're in a difficult position, and we have to we should understand that. And when I saw the discourse just being so negative, where we're losing 3,000 players, I'm going, somebody at least has to get the other side of the coin. I admit, even some of my takes may not be the best takes, but at least it gives both sides of the coin. And now the viewer or the reader can decide. Okay. So that's a healthy discourse. And that's what I was hoping to have more here. I just didn't get it, unfortunately.
Well, Jason, because I don't think, like, your side of the coin, I don't see it, because what you're telling me is, and this confirms in my world, this confirms this suspicion that I had with, you didn't see that debate, that is okay, but some people saw that. I had this once already, what I think I have with you. I had this with Mondi in the beginning of season 2. And Mondi was honest enough to say, you know what? I think this shit is pretty lit with season 2. I think it's pretty okay. I think people are over dramatic. And I said to him, I think you just don't know enough about it. And I explained certain things to him. For example, he didn't know about the butchering, or I wanted to use another word, but I don't use that, of martial law. He didn't know about that. Now, I explained then certain things to him. And at the end of all of this, he just said, you know what? I'm a casual. I thought this shit is pretty sick. But when you actually explain this to me and how these moves work, I have to say, yeah, that's pretty dog shit.
Yeah, and I guess, maybe it's just the language we choose to use. Like, I feel that's hurtful language to the community and demotivates them to play. And where we even have agreement here, where maybe the execution ceiling on, Tekken 7 is like a 10. I still feel like Tekken 8, execution's an 8. Like, you still have technical characters like a Hayachi or a Devil Jin, like, there's still talent there. And if it was so easy technical, then, then we wouldn't see drop combos, we wouldn't see mistiming things, and that it does have a level of intricacy. It's still a competitive game. So I guess I'll just go back to the point. Maybe it's just the way the language we use. I don't agree with the language you use. I feel like it would be more healthy community if you weren't as hyperbolic, and if we just gave both sides of the coin and definitely believe what you want. I mean, we all have a prerogative, but I think it's more healthy for a community to hear both sides, so the viewer can make up their mind.
Okay, well, in that case, let me read out what the chat is saying.
Wait, Mike, do I have like 5 minutes? How many do we have?
There's a lot. So
okay,
you're gonna have to run through, Mike, because I have a hard stop at 2:30. Yeah, I have like good real life stuff that needs to happen, but let me
run through the super chats to be fair to these guys, and then we can get like final thoughts from you guys. What, in 15 minutes?
Wait, 2:30, bro. I'm not even fucking done. Like, I'm warming up, my dude.
Dude, we're obviously in different areas of our life. Look, I'm about to be a grandpa, and I got Tekken as much as I love it. I'm a 3D person. I have kids. I have a wife. I have friends, family. I have a full life.
Jason, I was just halfway also through my character assassination arc. I was just halfway through that. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding.
I believe it. Well, you just have to.
Do you really believe that?
You have to keep your hate to yourself, buddy.
But right, let me read through the super chats. Let me read through it to be fair to everyone, and then we can like do some final parts, and then obviously if Jason's got shit to do, then that's fine. All right. Frost, thank you for the 10 months. Electric back shots, the best move in the whole game. Thank you, Frost. What that means. Lemon Texi, thank you for the 199. His camera angle gets me every time. Appreciate you.
Hey, Mike, you're pretty good at this content creation stuff. Is my angle bad or something? Or
no, your camera angle seems fine to me.
No, your angle is good. Actually, your angle is good.
That's good.
Okay.
Mr. Moss, thank you for the $20. Jason keeps getting pushback on his take, then says it's an attack on himself. I also don't understand why he keeps talking about nuance when he can't understand that FinnT is criticizing his points and not him as a person.
I want to give some charity to that take. Like, I get why you would feel that way, but I would ask, again, in balance and seeing both sides of the coin, that Finn did open up that he wanted to make it about me. And so, look, I get that. But setting the table that way put me on the back foot of going, well, about me. So maybe things like him having a standard, that's acceptable. I get he has a standard, and and I have a standard, but maybe that it made it feel more like a personal attack. Look, I get that he's trying to get to that idea that it's more about your expertise, but because he framed it in the beginning that way, I just asked for some charity there.
Fair enough. Stephen Moten, thank you for the 199. Better be an Evo champ here with all this frame talk. I think that's to you, Finn. Do you have anything to say on that? Oh, he's muted. Okay, fair enough. OJ, thank you for the $5. Can't keep saying I'm not going to laser focus on X move when several examples are brought up. At what point does it become the overall problem?
Yes, I do. I do have something to say about that. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah, go on.
I was delayed. Sorry. I wanted to tell him, bro, it's not about if you're an Evo champ. I, at no point, Stephen Moton, at no point did I give did I use like any credits I might have as an argument for something. But I am sorry, Jason did. I didn't. I didn't come at you and tell you I actually know because I was trained by the original American Koreans, Howard and Tom Hilfiger. That is why I then ask about, and he was. I am not denying that he didn't. I am not saying that he did not, played with Tom Hilfiger and shit. Because I actually asked people about that, and he is not lying about this. But there is then something I have to ask about, okay, how well do you actually know what you're talking about now? It's just knowledge. If you don't know what you're dealing with, it doesn't, like you will, I don't know. It's pretty obvious, right? So, sorry. I don't want to.
Okay. Wow. And Jason, I think this one was for you.
Mm-hmm. Great question. Yeah, again, I want to say very legitimate question. I would say that it's fair ask when several examples are brought up. And that's why I always go back to holistically. And the data point I would use to that is that we don't have to, the reason laser focusing on one move is bad is because people extrapolate that, not Finn. Like I said, people online, like, look how bad this game is. It's dog shit. But I go, but if we look at it holistically, you're right. There's several examples, but even with those several examples, we're not seeing major tier changes in the data set. And so because we're not seeing major tier changes, except for Asuka and Lars, arguably, that these moves, they seem to me, in my opinion, to be okay-ish, okay enough.
Okay. Tom, thank you for the $5. I will get to your question by sidestepping the question. That was a yes or no question. Do me a favor, Tom. All right. Well, yeah,
glad you made that money, Mike. Hey, man, I made you $5, Mike. I think you should give me a cup of coffee at least. Something.
If I'm ever in your state, I'll buy you a cup of coffee.
Right. Sounds good.
Tom, again, thank you for the $5. Monty really should be a politician. He's full of shit, appeals to emotion, constant guilt tripping, and big stick up his butt. No prostate exam needed.
And all I'll say to that is, it feels emotional when somebody says they're going to make it about you and not the game.
Alicorn, thank you for the $2. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you. Tom, again, thank you for the $5. Cough, answer yes or no questions with yes or no. Cough, Jason, cough. Appreciate you, Tom. Thank you. The Rat King, thank you for the €5. Mike is a legend for serving us such a sublime debate. I'm truly grateful. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. Glad you're entertained. Tom, thank you for the $10. Ezra, please leave the jokes to me. If you want to butcher the art of roasting, at least get a good whetstone to sharpen that tongue. But it's probably too busy slurping, so never mind. Okay, I think that was for someone in chat. He's a regular of the chat, so I'm sure they're gonna go at each other now. The Rat King, thank you for the $2. Might get Blackheart on the debate, bro. No, this is a one-on-one debate. I promised both of them that I would not have extra people in here. Tom, thank you for the $5. Jason really needs to dress up for Halloween. I got the perfect costume for him. Straw Man the Scarecrow, filled with straws and shit. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate it. Thank you for $5 again. This dude is over 50 and he's still saying, cool story, bro. Jesus Christ. He's the Tekken M2 Dave. It's getting so heated. Do you know M2 Dave, Jason?
I don't know who that is.
Oh, okay, no, he's a Freddy Krueger player from Mortal Kombat 9. Lemon Texi, thank you for the 199. Every accusation is a confession. Poster child. If at any point you guys want to respond to any of these, you can. Just let me know. Mr. Musk, thank you for the 199. Is this what Twitter people are like? Because damn, Twitter's an interesting place, Mr. Musk.
Boy, isn't it?
Tom, thank you for the $5. He's such a hypocrite. This old man rage baits all the time on Twitter and YouTube all the time. Finn comes with facts. It's bullying. GTFO, Jason.
I will say one thing though. My dad is really strict, and I would have found it cool if my dad at 52, he's a bit older, would have talked to me like this and played Tekken. I thought this is cool.
Much appreciated. Thank you, Finn. That means a lot.
I'm honest.
Do you play Tekken with your kids, Jason?
Yeah, but they got hooked on Dota 2. I played Dota with them also, and but they went the Dota 2 route.
Okay, fair enough. Maybe there's money. I don't know how Dota works, but it has to be more money in that than Tekken.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Ozzy, thank you for the $10. Good job in doing these, Mike, but this is hard to listen to. Sorry, Ozzy. Try to keep you entertained over here. Tom, thank you for the $10. FinnT magical standard. When FinnT actually tries to explain what that standard is, Jason says shut the fuck up and runs with whatever he thinks it is. Strawman argument by definition, and he complains about attack.
Yeah, I guess I would say to that is, everybody's going to have different standards. I honestly feel like I know enough. Obviously had a long time in the series, the franchise as a whole. 30 years is not absolutely nothing like that was once said. It's not absolutely nothing. It's something. And so I'll leave it at that.
OJ, thank you for the $2. Guarantee you Jason has no direct stances in real life.
No,
I think he has. He has. I know because I was on his Twitter. I can tell you that much. He has.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Arsenal Realms, thank you for the $5. Jason should be a NASCAR driver. He's great at going in circles for hours.
Mike, how much money have I made you here?
No, I haven't counted. The community.
I don't see anything as well. I'm just here for the fun of it.
Tom, thank you for the $5. Jason is acting like he died on the cross for our sins. Shut the fuck up.
I would not.
Okay, that one is actually.
That
is good. That is good. That is good.
Tom has a way of words.
Yeah.
Slime, thank you for the €5. Coach Mike, I beg you, put me in. I'll get him. No, I told everyone beforehand that this was not going to be a dogpiling session because I know that Jason's opinions can sometimes be unpopular. I didn't want you to feel like it was a bullying session.
I appreciate that, Mike.
Casey, thank you for the £5. He has that standard because you are dismissing his and other people's opinions on why the game isn't good at the moment. We came to the conclusion through play.
Yeah, that's a hard one to address because it's so this is a good example, I think, where like explication and like a real discussion could happen with like KC here, who gave the £5, because like what does he mean that it isn't good? Like there's some good, obviously it's good enough where some players are still traveling, there's still a robust international scene, there's still like a lot of players do like the game. So I get what he's saying, but like I just think this would require more discussion to really understand him.
I think for me, one of the things that I found of Tekken 8 that I really dislike is there is a very, very poor balance between having fun on the attack and having fun on the defense when you're defending. So I've heard a lot of people that play Clive say he's fun to use, and I can see what they're saying when I look at him. He looks pretty crazy. I've messed about with him a little bit, but fighting against him is horrible. And Tekken 8 is for me the most frustrating Tekken game I've ever played by a country mile, including Tag 2, because Tag 2 is known for being pretty frustrating. But the designs in Tekken 8 are so lopsided to. There's like I think Fakuram is a great design in Tekken 8 because when I fight him, I'm also having a great time. But when I'm fighting Anna, And majority of, I mean, Anna's the most extreme example, but there's so many characters in this game where they pop up on the screen when you're about to fight, and you're like, oh my god, not again. And you're like, that's not a good feeling. I feel like the balance is poor there. Where in previous Tekken games, I didn't really get that feeling. I remember like when I'd see Bake do Sun, I'd be like, oh shit. But that might have been like me not knowing the matchups properly. But outside of that, I never had that feeling. I feel like
Can I
Tekken
give
has
you?
done a really poor job in balancing the fun factor between attacking and defending.
I think a lot of people feel your way, Mike. Can I give you just an alternative to think about on that? Because I'm not saying you're wrong. I mean, obviously you feel that way, and there's a lot of legitimacy there. I know it's that way sometimes. What I would say to that is I think it's character to character, dependent. Because there are some characters that I love defending against because if it's a challenge, but I can defend enough, I can make the right calls, and feels so good when you get that, that sidestep and you end up at their back, or just the right call in the power crush, the right call in the the evasion stance, any of that. Are there characters more difficult to do that? Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that we're discovering with Tekken 8 is that matchup knowledge is so much more needed, because if you don't have that matchup knowledge, it does feel like you're saying like it's really hard and feels oppressive. But if you have a really good matchup knowledge as Clive, you might not feel as much that way. But I hear you. That's a legitimate call.
Wait, what?
I think just for Finn goes, I think my main issue of Tekken 8 is that there are characters like Clive that I genuinely don't want to come across. But
I know, right?
As a whole, the entire roster has access to heat every single round. So every single round of every single game, I am dealing with a Super Saiyan version of a pre-existing character that I probably didn't even want to fight in the first place. So you have this situation now where it's like, I already have a hard time against whatever character is, and now you've turned them into a Super Saiyan, and it's every round. The player doesn't have to earn it. They don't have to worry about it not coming back. It will be there, and it dominates the entire round. And some characters like King get theirs back. They do certain moves, and you're stuck there dealing with heat. And by the time heat is gone, your back's at the wall. And it's just like, this is a very frustrating experience.
And maybe that heat needs tuning. I would think so. But I'll also ask this. Is there any characters you do have fun defending against?
Yeah, I like fighting against Fakuram. I like fights against Kazuya. I enjoy fighting against I used to not have much of a problem with Horang. After season 2, I don't like fighting him anymore.
I'll show you how to get around his new +4 move. I'm telling you, you're gonna eat players up with that, bro.
I think season 2 made me dislike characters more. In season 1, there were characters that I didn't mind, like Paul, for example. Never had an issue with fighting Paul. Paul's always been a character that I thought was as close to like what I wanted Tekken to be in Tekken 8. Now I don't feel that way as much in season 2. So yeah, there's characters that I've not had a problem fighting. I've had genuine fun fighting. But now I see John on the screen, and I'm like, oh, she's got a shotgun now. She's halfway across the screen shooting light rays at you.
Like, she does. Yeah.
Sorry, Finn, you wanted to say something before we move on to the next one?
Well, how many? No, you go on. Sorry.
I do need to go soon. I'm sorry, guys.
Okay, wait. Then, Jason, let me ask you one question, though, Jason.
Yes, sir.
Do you condone Namco Bandai and everyone in that shithole for having us left with plugging for 1 year until Clive came out, for 7 years in Tekken 7, and it's still not completely fixed? And do you also acknowledge that we have no anti-cheat in this game is completely ass?
Those two I think are probably the most legitimate for me complaints that I've heard. I would love to have an anti-cheat in the game, and plugging, you should definitely be, punished for that. And there's just, that those two big complaints haven't been addressed. Yeah, I'm not thrilled about that.
You are now punished for plugging, but there are ways around it. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. Obviously, I'm not going to say this publicly, but there are ways around it. And,
but even with the punishment, is it really like, I don't feel it's enough. Like, I think it's just a little bit more is what I'm saying.
Let's get to the next, because Jason has to go in a minute. So let me finish off the super chats just to be fair to the community. Tom, thank you for the $2. Jason, are you a solipsist?
I don't know what that word is. You'd have
I have
to.
no idea what that word is. Let me just quick. Actually, you know what? I'll just read out this other super chat. I'll check in a minute. The Rat King, thank you for the €5. If you can't back up what you say, your argument becomes meaningless. That's why knowledge about the game is important.
Yeah, no, we all agree to that. It's just what standards are we hitting here? But okay, yeah.
Cryptic, thank you for the €10. If someone knows enough, they would be able to talk about why or why not a move is okay. And it is unfair for him to constantly interrupt Finn to nowhere and yet cry if Finn tries to finish his sentence.
Yeah, and to be charitable to Finn and to this guy, I'm sure I interrupted more. I'm sure I did all that. However, when you're put on the back foot that it's going to be made about you and not what you thought it was going to be, it just sets the table in a weird tone.
Okay, and just to answer the solipsis thing, apparently it's someone who is self-centered.
I'm a nobody, but yeah, whatever.
Lemon Texi, thank you for the $4.99. Do you believe that being positive to the extreme is bad for the game's health in the same way extreme negativity is?
100%. And I talked about this last time in our last podcast. Mike, was toxic positivity as bad as toxicity, and because, and just put it in simpler terms, you want to go to a restaurant and you want it to taste good, but you also don't want so much sugar that it's just makes it not good. So yeah, toxic positivity is the thing, and I try and keep a balanced take. Well, I admit some of my takes may be so positive, but the reason for that is I'm just trying to bring balance to the force, bro. Twitter is an unlimited supply of hate, a lot of negativity. So I just try and remind some players out there that might be being demotivated that no, this game is still worth your time.
But I am that balance, Jason. I am the solution. Because
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
because I tell those idiots that come to me and because you have a problem with that as well. The idiots that come to me and say this game is a literal casino. Bro, I treat them with utter disgust. Way more than I've shown to you.
That.
And
Right. I appreciate that.
because it's obviously wrong. It's wrong.
Right.
So I'm just telling you, I think I am that.
So more agreement. That's awesome. All right, love it.
All right, let me move on to the next one. Tiny Parcel, thank you for the $5. Jason, you have no standards. It's why you deflect. And as a grown man, you should be ashamed of yourself. Appeals to authorities and then says, I'm a casual.
I'm not sure what to say to that. I don't appeal to authority in the sense, it's funny because like he says no standards, but I try and say like, well, I have some standards because here's my history. And he goes, yeah, but then you're appealing to authority. And I'm like, oh, geez, I guess I just can't win on this one. And the reason I do say I'm a casual, I think I spoke to that is, well, I wouldn't say I'm a casual because I'm not, in the sense of like, I go to my locals. That's happening right now. And so I obviously have some type of standard. It's not good enough for him. That's fine. I'm not here for them.
Okay. Rain89, thank you for being a member for 3 months. Holistic, nuanced, laser focused me. Deffy445, thank you for the €2. Wee Finn called me stupid. Mike, help.
Well.
Technically, he didn't call me stupid. It was subtexting that I didn't like.
Yeah. Hypnotic, thank you for the $10. Good stream. Shout out to Hypnotic. Just hit 100K. W's in the chat for Hypnotic. Please, is killing it over there. Radiant, thank you for the $5. Jason, how do you separate people being brutally honest from toxic or dooming? No hate, but you do often wrongfully label people as toxic and such.
I don't doubt I've probably said somebody's toxic before, but I typically just try and say the FGC. But yeah, sure, and maybe that goes too far sometimes. Again, what I'm trying to get out there is that there's some balance to be had here.
Okay, and there's only 2 more, Jasons. I know you need to go. So
appreciate
Cryptic, thank you for the €10. You have a good time in Tekken when you look for gaps, ducks, interrupts. Fukaram is the best example for good balance. In Tekken 8, it happens way too much that your only option is holding back.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead, Finn.
No, you go on. You don't have that much time.
I was just gonna say looks at it as, and wait until your only option will be. Yeah, I mean, you can feel that way, but I feel when I go into replay, like there's always something I discovered. Like I'm going, oh man, I could have power crushed here. Oh damn, I could have sidestepped here. Oh damn, like it's rarely I go into replay and go, this is impossible. There's like no solution here.
Finn, did you want to say something?
It's crazy, right? That like Fakum Ram in this game, who is actually, I think he's a strong character, and I think he has some crazy BS as well. It's crazy, actually, right? That this whole power level is so high that a character comes out that is like not that insanely egregious immediately. You're like, bro, that can we be all like him? And like even people who say like the character's basically dog shit and shit, which he absolutely isn't. It's really crazy. It's actually it's shocking. It's shocking, but it is what it is, right? It warps your perspective, and yeah, I agree. Right now, yeah, fucking Ram is a good example for he is not insanely egregious.
Yeah, okay. And finally, Rain, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. All right, well, I know that oh sorry, there was one more. GGBHTG, thank you for the $10.01. One viewpoint could be that the new moves fundamentally change Tekken into something it's not, while also not changing the meta to have tier list shakeups. The point is acknowledge the points at all. Anything to say to that, guys?
I think he's looking for a balanced take there, if I'm reading this right. Not cheating him. Yeah, I think there was a lot of valid points on both sides made here. So hopefully viewers can decide for themselves and make their own decisions.
I think a good example is Jun. I feel like Jun's moveset goes against what I would want to see in Tekken, especially with her season 2 variant. I think her having the ability to basically shoot Dragon Ball style energy blasts across the screen is just egregious. Her Tekken Tag 2 design was way better, and even Unknown with the stuff that she was putting out of the ground was way better than what we have now, especially because Unknown's gimmicks weren't so egregious, and you'd often see those like supernatural elements in the combos where you're already being hit. But Jun is using it in the neutral, and you're trapped half the time when she's doing it halfway across the screen. So stuff like that takes away from Tekken, in my opinion. Maybe newer players might disagree because they don't have that perspective where we've been playing the game since the original iteration, but I think that hurts Tekken. I don't know. Do you disagree with that?
Me or Finn?
Well,
you, Jason.
I think that's a fair point, and this is where I know people don't like to hear this. You want an absolute yes or no on this, and I go, yeah, it does change Tekken, but that's where I think evolution is needed, because if it's the same, then it's not good either. Now, does it change it too much? That's more the question I would ask. And I would say it changes it too much to the point it needs tuning. Do I think it shouldn't be there? No, I don't think the move should not exist. I just think it needs tuning. And I know people don't like to hear an answer like that, but that's my answer.
You don't think all evolution is good though, right?
No, of course not. Hence why moves need tuning, right? I mean, not all evolution is good.
Just because I know you need to go, I just want to ask you, in terms of that specific move where Jun is able to like go into a stance and then shoot a blast, what would you tune on that to make that a better playing experience for the defender?
Well, it would either be, that's where the creativity comes in on this. You could do a million things. You could change properties of the move. You can change, and when I say properties, like, what does that even mean? There's so much. It's like, well, it freezes a character in place for a second. It debuffs them, and I don't like debuffs. I'm just giving an example of the creativity that could happen. It does less damage. It has less range. It's super sidesteppable, like in a jokingly way. Like, there's maybe a combination of all those things. So yeah, I think it needs tuning. What that is, I think that's where the art comes in, and that's.
But just you specifically, like, forget the developers. If you
what I would do,
Yeah.
I would make it super linear. I'd make the recovery on it really poor. I would limit the distance of it, and I would have it do like a jokingly amount of damage, where it's like maybe it could secure you a win with a few slivers of life or something like that. Like it's more used in that manner than what it is right now.
Would you like take away the ability for it to like wall splat so you don't get?
Yeah, yeah, it's a bit much, bro. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Well, okay, so I know you need to go. Is there anything that you guys want to end on? I'll let Finn go first, just because we've been talking, and then Jason can end.
Yeah, after Jason is gone, I either want this Ezra motherfucker from out of the chat in here, or the other guy that said I can't do Akuma combos, which I obviously, well, people who played with me in Tekken 7, they are in chat right now. You can tell them the opposite. But this guy I also would take, or Ezra, but it doesn't matter.
Okay. Do you have anything you want to end with, Jason? Any last words? Sorry,
I want to thank you
Finn.
for your
No, I mean,
time.
Finn, do you have anything you want to say to Jason to end with before Jason goes?
I would have liked more time to, properly, well, you know what I mean? Like, I was not done yet. I was not done, but, well.
Well,
what can I do?
I'll say this, Finn. With that extra time that I have, maybe next time we meet again, whenever that may or may not be, that'll just give me time to hopefully learn more frame data to meet your standard. And then with that, I do.
But the
want to
problem
thank
is,
you.
if you did
I
that,
do
you would
I
come.
do need to go. I do need to go. It's at 2:30. I needed to go. I'm way late. This is like, real life stuff. We're having a new baby today. I got to get out of here.
Congrats.
But I do want to thank you, Finn. Apologize for getting heated sometimes, but I'll tell you this, and I honestly mean this, is, if you play Tekken, I think you're a friend. I really do. And because especially in the late 90s, like, that's all that matters, that we could get together and have a good time. That we disagree on art, that's an okay thing. Like, you may like a movie, I may hate a movie. You may like a game, that's okay. But all I'm doing is trying to give the other side of the story so people can make informed decisions, because I just felt like the chatter had just got a little bit too rancor for my taste. And just thank you guys for your time. And that's it.
Thank you, Jason.
problem.
Appreciate you being here. Congrats
Yeah.
on the new baby, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Latest, fellas.
See you.
Well, my potential answer to that would be, sometimes I like dog shit movies that are really heavy dog shit, and I would admit it. I would say, yeah, I like this movie, but it's dog shit, Or, I haven't seen enough of that movie to actually make that judgment, which would also be an equivalent,
Well, Finn, so was there someone you wanted to call out to get on here?
Yeah, the one guy who insulted my Akuma skills, which obviously we can go right now, Tekken 7 on stream if you want. And the other guy, but I don't know, this Ezra guy, he told like Immortal, I can see your past messages, bro. You told like Immortal to shut the fuck up and some shit. Like, do you know something about Tekken? Do you want to take Jason's place? Because you said you can help Jason. Like you said, Mike, let me on. Please, Mike, let me on. I can save Jason. Now, I would like to see that if you are serious about this, but I think this guy might be on crack.
I think Ezra just might be having a good time. I don't think he's being serious. I'm not sure. He's in the chat. I just saw him typing. So if he said he doesn't own Tekken 8, yeah, he's just taking the piss. I don't think he's being serious.
Well, where's this other guy who said something about my Akuma? How can I find this guy, Mike? How do I search chat? How do I find this guy?
Yeah, I don't think you can search chat on YouTube, unfortunately. Was this much earlier on?
Yes, but it's still in my head. It still lingers.
If there's anybody in chat that wants to take Jason's place, let it be known now.
Well, I would not advise that, because I tell you guys, this was like half, and I didn't show certain things because he would probably have rage quit the stream.
Yeah. Well, Finn, I think you did a good job, to be honest with you. I think the point was made.
No, I didn't, Mike.
You did do a good job.
Mm-mm.
I know you didn't get to everything you wanted to get to, but the good thing is that you realized that if you did, we wouldn't have had a debate anymore.
Yeah, but only if I did, it would be a true sacrifice to the Great Dragon, And I mean, I know. Look, it wasn't even about. Look, his competence would not be that important to me if he had not, as you see in one specific thing I prepared, again and again underlined it of like, bro, I played with Tom Hilfiger and shit. I am not insane. I wasn't even fucking Omega in Tekken 7. I was only Tekken God Prime. So I wasn't even fucking max rank. Now Tekken God Prime is like decent, but it's like I'm not insane. The sickest shit I have ever done in this game is I got one game in ICFC off of DBP before he bent me over. And that's okay, right? But in this case, I had the feeling of maybe Jason just isn't that much aware of what is going on in season 2. And all I wanted is for him to explain to me why this shit is sick. Like, why? Look, for example, we didn't even get to that. I had like, it said June, right? June Miare, like Blackheart pronounced it, Miare, 1+2, right? That's a 3.4 homing mid. That's plus 11 into stance mix. That is already fucked up enough, Mike, but it is plus 4 on block. And after that, 2 is homing towards the direction you want to step to. So you need to respect this. This is a mid that goes 3.4 units of range, Mike, and is plus 4 on block. This is not fine. And it was more plus.
I agree with you. And I completely agree.
But I was interested in Jason telling me the nuances of this shit, because I'm like, Jason, why isn't this a problem? And if he says yes, then I would like to have asked him, then why do you tweet this? Then why do you say people believe in, what did he say in the last podcast? Into a wrong axiom. Like, what is this bullshit?
Well, the thing is, Finn, is that like Jason said a lot of things during the podcast that I picked up on. Obviously, I couldn't get involved because I said that I'll try to stay out as much as possible. But one of the things he said that I found quite damning personally is that he recognizes that on Twitter there's a lot of negativity, and then he tries to counteract that with positivity. But the way I look at things is you should just tell the truth, and if people want to take it as negative or positive, that's up to them. But the truth is all that matters. And if you're trying to be more positive or you're trying to be more negative, you're just being disingenuous. So it's hard for me to take you seriously at that point. I know a lot of people like in the MK scene thought I was being unnecessarily negative towards MK, but I was just telling the truth. They didn't like it. So that was something quite damning that he said. Obviously, I think that you did a pretty good job with like bringing up properties of moves and him not understanding like where to take the conversation from there in his mind. And like I've heard his talking points from other people as well, that what they know is enough. But that obviously that's kind of it's a silly thing to say, because the debate will expose who knows enough. Although you didn't get to everything you wanted to get to, you did a good enough job in explaining or showing people why Jason, and this is not a put down, because we've all been like super casual at one point, but Jason just loves Tekken. He's a casual player, and he's got a bit of a presence on Twitter, and him being good at Tekken Tag 1 does not translate to Tekken 8. They're completely separate games. Tekken 8 works off of the Tekken 5 framework, as did 6, 7, and Tag 2, right? Everything before that is different, very different compared to what we play now. So I think he did a good job. I don't think you got anything
Mike,
to be
there
mad
are certain things he said. He called like heat engagers pokes. It's just like pokes. But in my opinion, he says that, but it's like, that is exactly the reason. If you are in heat, you are literally poking. You are poking with a +5 on block mid launcher. That is exactly the problem. But he says, well, you have to treat them like pokes. A jab is +8, and heat engager is only 1 frame more plus. Well, but he forgets that I'm very close to my opponent and I am in God mode. And then, if I am in heat, my heat engager then becomes a +5 on block homing launching poke, so to speak. That is a problem.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
It is a problem. I completely agree with you. But Jason's gone now, and I know people want to jump on, but I do have to go and do some things in a minute. If you want to jump on to say some stuff, I'm only going to allow people to come on if they want to go against what Finn is saying, because this stream was meant to be a debate stream, not just agreeing with each other. So if you have anything you want to debate Finn on, let it be known now, and I'll let you come on. But if it's just to repeat what we're already saying about disagreeing with Jason, then
I made so many mental notes, bro. It's such I didn't even, bro. I didn't.
I know Finn. I know Finn.
I have everything, bro. I wanted. You know what I wanted to do? I wanted the chat to vote. I wanted the chat to vote because I have here heat, right? So I have noted, like, I give my take basically, right? I have a mental note. I made a note of like, okay, explain why you think Heat Burst is dog shit. And I want him to explain in his words why Heat Burst is good. And then I wanted to let the chat vote on it, who they think has the more correct take, which would also be kind of fun, wouldn't it?
Mm.
And we didn't even get to that. And I was like, Heat Burst, Heat Engage, Heat Smash, yada yada, Heat Package in total. I even had doesn't fucking matter, bro.
Well, Finn, in that case, you know, like, there will be people that agree with Jason. Don't know where they are right now, but they're probably on Twitter somewhere. And you have a Twitter account now. So what you could do is you could get somebody that's actually knowledgeable about the game and someone that really understands Tekken 8 properly. And you could debate them. It could turn into a good debate, because this was more of like it wasn't really a debate. It was more just showing that some people just love Tekken. They don't really know what they're talking about. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, because there's things that I love Gears of War. I'm not going to get on a stream and start debating the mechanics, because I don't really understand them that well. So if you can find an opponent that is really worthy of debating, then that
the thing is, Mike,
fun as well.
The thing is, you can't, because my assumption, I think, is true. If you are a casual and you love everything about Tekken 8, that is fully fine. I will not take this away from you at all. But to point at people who maybe know a little bit more about the game and then have points of critique to say it's just like you're wrong, or it's just a skill issue, even though it's not about who is winning, because you can clearly see that the game is still consistent enough that Arslan Ash wins. That's not the problem. The problem is these situations. And I just want someone to explain to me why this is good in like their own words. I can use my own words. But Mike, the thing is, you will not find a person like this, because the curse works like this. The curse goes like this. The more time you spend on this, actually dig into it, the more unhappy you will get. So you will not get someone who has amounts like Blackheart or whatever to actually say, you know, this is actually pretty sick. The person doesn't exist.
I think Shinblade and G6 Pro are those people. Shinblade's super high level, right? And Shinblade loves Season 2.
Shinblade is also super old school, but even Shinblade, I had him on. He was, when I streamed about certain shit, he was on, and he was also like, yeah, certain things is like, yeah. I mean, he was like, kind of, you need to deal with this, but he was like, I think he would never say, yeah, this is actually really good design. He would say, you need to deal with this, bro.
Mm. Well, I mean, if that person is out there, then one day we can get them on. But I feel like you achieved, even though you didn't get to where you wanted to go, it was only going to be the same result. I feel like you achieved what you wanted to achieve in the first hour. So I don't know. I enjoyed it. It was entertaining. And even though this was meant to be like informative, it was to like show people, you know, who knows what they're talking about versus who doesn't. I feel like this was pretty good. Pretty happy with it. I know you're not. I'm sorry, Finn.
I'm not, because it wasn't, you know, a full sacrifice to the Great Dragon, which it should have been, but it wasn't. And look, guys, one thing I have to, if you allow me, one tiny thing I have to make clear is I didn't try to be a fucking asshole on purpose, out of a blue. But I simply had the feeling, when you see certain things, we didn't even get to the Thai tweet, which is fucking hilarious. Like, either he doesn't know, or like, I don't know, he tries to fuck with me here. Because look, support positive content creators. Great video. I agree. Ty made a great video. Ty knows me, actually, not for real in real life, but I made a video about him. Ty is one of, I wanted to make a video about Ty because Ty is actually my favorite player. If anyone wants to know who my favorite player is, it is Ty. Why is it Ty? Because Ty plays in a way that makes you want to play Tekken 8. He plays so clean and so it's sexy. I can't have a better word for it. But you know what Ty says? This game is a piece of shit and not a real Tekken game. That is his opinion. Now you see this, for example. I normally don't even complain, blah, 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 about shit like this, which is the titty update. But boobs, bikini shit, outfits, blah, blah, blah. And they can't balance. They can't.
Can't we get balance changes or cheater bans?
Yeah. So Ty is not a positive content creator, and then we have this, which is like I wonder if Jason knew about this. I don't know if people. I will read it out loud. So, biggest Tekken 8 dick rider on the planet isn't even a real human. Bro forgot to remove the chat GPT in the beginning. That Lemao I added. But, well, now in chat, some people knew about this chat GPT stuff that Jason Montoya uses. Yes.
Oh my god, that's chat GPT. Wait, let me read it to the chat so they know, in case they can't see. Here is your message cleaned up and structured for clarity flow, with no dashes, ready to post or tweet as plain text. Oh, hell.
No, and look,
no,
yes.
Jason.
Mike, if I had shown this, he would have probably quit. You know how heated he was when he said you make. This is why I was like, yes, I make this about you because this shit comes from you. But if I had shown this while he was here, he would have quit on me.
Yeah,
he would have said, "Fuck you."
Ben, you made a good call. You made a good call because that is indefensible.
Yeah. So look, I think Jason. I'm sorry. The guy is a father. He plays Tekken with his sons. I would love if my father had fucking played Tekken with me. He's not a piece of shit. He's not a bad human being. I asked people about him. Everyone in the Albuquerque scene who wasn't a fucking piece of shit on the Discord. Shout out to you, motherfuckers, by the way. I think you all you smoked the fucking blue stuff down in Albuquerque, yeah, bro. Holy shit. But they all said, I like him. He's a good guy. He's a TO. Blah blah blah. All this shit. The Albuquerque scene has his back, right? Although some of you are pieces of shit out there. I'm just gonna let you know. But this is indefensible. I think he literally asks ChatGPT, hey, can you make, how can I defend Tekken 8? And this is why all of these answers are gibberish and like generalized, holistic nuances bullshit up my asshole instead of addressing a move and telling me why this move is not a problem. That is my take, basically. And I didn't get to that. But that is my fucking opinion what's going on here.
Well, everybody's still seen it. It's a good thing we didn't put it on screen because that's not defensible. That is clearly taken from ChatGPT. There's no reason why a human being would type that out. That's indefensible. There's no other way to put it. I ain't got nothing else to say. That's just a massive L. It's a good thing we didn't put on stream when he was here because that would have just ended the whole stream.
You didn't see the 2 videos I prepared for this, but I will say, guys, I probably make a cut of this. Excuse me, I probably make a cut of this, and will put the 2 videos I had prepared. Yes, I actually had prepared play-in videos for Mike to play. Yeah. I will put them in the cut because he would have quit if he had seen that. Because yes, it's kind of a personal attack. But the shit he says is simply, bro, how can I take you seriously, my dude? So,
Finn, what you should do is, like you said, make a video on your channel, take clips from this podcast because you were in it as well. So feel free to use whatever you wanted, and then expand on it, and then maybe there'll be a part 2 or something.
I mean, I can't do it again because it was actually at some point I was just give me a short answer here. Just tell me you don't know how the move works. I mean, it's okay to say I don't know, but my main problem is he can just say I don't know. But then the logical conclusion is then don't make statements that season 2 is fire and excellent and only 1% needed to be adjusted if you don't even know what this 1% was. We were, like someone in chat said, we were dealing with +11 5 Fox Fury. We were dealing with Lars running 1 being +7 on block. We were dealing with insane shit. And now this is nerfed, but there's still so much left in the game, which is just ass. And I wanted to all I wanted to do is I tell him, guys, all I wanted to do for the most part is I think a move is dog shit and clearly season 2 brain rot. And I wanted to ask him, tell me what this move does. And if he says, I don't know, I would just friendly have described it to him, like I did with his own move, by the way. And then I want him to tell me why this is not bad. and we didn't even get to. Well, how many do I have here? Well, I was prepared, bro. I have like 50 moves, 30 moves maybe.
Yeah. What I think you should do is I think you should make a video based on it and break it down. I think that you should use your 2 videos that you've had prepared. I think you should take clips from this and then just put it out there, because your channel's great. For people that haven't seen FinnT's channel, definitely go and subscribe. That is the most cinematic Tekken channel I've ever seen. Your
Yeah, I saw your
law-abiding,
comment.
citizen edit fucking killed me, bro. Me and my girlfriend were watching it, laughing our heads off.
Bro, it was so fitting, right? Like every sentence, it was just so it's so fitting. It's so good.
Yeah, it was great. But I think we've done everything we needed to, Finn. I had a good time. So we'll end it there. FinnT, always an entertaining figure in the scene. Appreciate you, bro. Anything that you want to end on with the chat?
Well, yes. If anyone wants to actually, like, if anyone is actually of Jason's opinion, like for real, and thinks he can actually, somehow spin the complaints I have into, hey, see the positives in it. Like, for real. Bro, just motherfucking contact me on Discord and I will fucking murder you. So we can just
He's
do
joking. He what verbally? You mean verbally?
Yeah, verbally, yes, of course, verbally.
Okay, cool. All right.
And my Discord is reasonably agitated. No, how do you say? No space. No line break. Or how do you say it? It's just one word.
I'll put it in the description after I've put this on the channel.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, Finn. Appreciate you, bro. I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah. Good night.
Take care, man. Good night. All right, guys. That was FinnT. Always my favorite guy in the Tekken scene. And Blackheart before he starts. Appreciate all of you. Appreciate the super chats. I had a lot of fun doing that. There is already 2 more people that want to do this, so we might turn this into a series. We might just call it the Great Tekken 8 Debate part 2, and we'll see how it goes. So there's 2 people that want to have a debate on here. I will save that. I'll let you guys know who it is when I know for certain that they're coming on here. But other than that, guys, appreciate all of you. There might be a stream. There's going to be a stream on Monday. There might be a money match on the channel, so check back for that. Other than that, take care of yourselves, guys. Stay out of trouble, and I will see you on Monday. Appreciate you all.